Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to the Distinct and Jovial podcast. My name is Dom, and I'm joined by...
Boring!
massively upscaled. Why do we invite you back, Hooper?
Because the people love me.
Do they? Right. Let's look at the stats on this, shall we?
Let's not look at data. Data does not show feelings.
I'm looking at data. Because
derailed it. Again.
Go ahead, Jerry. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, all right, we're carrying on. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to stop,
Like
was I?
nothing ever happened.
I wasn't going to stop.
And I am chairman of the board. Jerry. See what I did there? See what I did
Cracking
there?
himself.
When did we last have you on Hoops?
Literally taking a flamethrower to that intro. We are so far off track. We can't even see the track. We're deep in the woods.
Your highest one, Hooper.
Hey, we don't need to look
Oh my
at
God,
stats.
you're looking.
We don't need to look
You've
at
gone
data.
off on.
I am looking. I'm gone. I've gone
God,
on. the
Dom,
rails,
come
right?
back.
I've annoyed him this much
Oh, jeez, Louise.
that Dom's coming back with data.
I was like, what's he doing? He looks deep in thought. He's crunching data.
Here we go.
You are the 22nd highest video,
At least I'm not 23rd.
and the 28th.
Well, at least I'm consistently in the 20s.
Obviously, the higher the number, the better. Obviously.
Aren't you like 32 now?
Yes. Shut up, Dom. How many videos have there been now? You've been doing this for...
This is episode 43.
43. Okay, so I'm mid.
You're slap bang in the middle of the bell curve.
Wow.
To be fair, you're probably on the higher end. If my maths is correct, 28.
Who wants the best when you can just
no,
have
you're
average?
either side. You're probably either side. So you're bang average.
I'm bang average. That's what my wife says.
We're talking about bell end
I suppose
curves
it's
and bang average, all in one sentence.
Well, I phrased it like that. Well, as everyone might have noticed, we've got Hooper back on the podcast. Lord knows why we've done this to ourselves.
Lightsaber, lightsaber, lightsaber.
After all the faffing that we did, right? We still forgot to do that bit.
After all the faffing what?
After all the faffing that we had before, trying to be like, when I introduce you, do the lightsaber. I still didn't do it.
Yeah,
First start.
it's gone completely out the window. It's nice to be back, though.
It's good to have you back.
It's good to have you back. We have to admit, though, although you have a mid on the view account, you definitely gave us the most
massaging my ego.
We definitely had the most fun on the on that podcast. Maybe because we weren't hosting it.
On the game show one.
Yeah.
Oh, so funny.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Did many people say that they played along?
Oh God, brain now. I don't remember anyone sort of saying. I
Don't
think,
have that in your stats, do you? You little...
No. I think the most common comment I got was, Dom, you got really stitched up there, didn't you?
I don't know what you mean.
I don't think
No, I don't believe that's actually the case. I think that's harsh. I don't think you're trying to help me at all,
it's pretty
Hoops,
fair.
were you? No.
No, there was nothing like that whatsoever.
Oh dear. So again, why did we bring him back, Jerry?
Well, I think the subheading legend. He is
Yeah.
one of the legends.
Oh, I didn't write. By the way, people, anybody seeing this, I did not write this. I am not that egotistical that I wrote.
You can't be
legend
self-proclaimed.
underneath. Yeah.
Oh,
I wrote that, and purely because I had to take Julio Enriquez out of Jerry's from the last podcast.
Yeah, next one's going to be Nick. Just remember that. Nick Iglesias. We're probably going to have to have to bleep that. In all seriousness,
Which bit?
every reference to Iglesias. I don't
Why?
know. He could sue. I've just mentioned his son's name. You'll have to probably delete that.
Didn't you just look it up on a Wikipedia article?
Yeah.
So I hardly think that we're in trouble of getting sued if it's already on the internet.
knowing
on a
my
Wikipedia
luck.
article. I think we're pretty much
Knowing
okay.
my
on that
luck.
Knowing my luck.
one. Well, this is true.
Where I get sued all the time.
Next thing you know, there'll be some court case. I'll be appearing. The Sun will be reporting on it. Daily Mail.
Do you? Are you going to get the publicity from it?
Hey,
That's the thing. That's the difference.
All publicity is good publicity, isn't it? That's the way you got to look at it. Yeah, well, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
I'm not so sure
I'm
on
not
that
so
one.
sure of that, but somebody said it once. Probably a PR agent. Yeah,
Probably, yeah. Oh dear. It's the 22nd of December. So happy Christmas, happy New Year, because this comes out on the 1st of January. It is episode number 43.
Wow.
We are we're on the downward stretch now towards episode 50.
Nice.
That's going to be fun.
What's happening at episode 50?
Oh, that's for us to know and you lot to find out.
Ooh. I read into that last sentence you said. We're on the downward stretch to it. Like,
We're going to release 50 white doves.
No, we're going to release 49 white doves and then we're going to disguise a pigeon as a dove and that's going to be the 50th.
and send an email to the pigeons.
And
Be more reliable
I
than...
lost a dove.
then Hooper will be there trying to attack them with his lightsaber as they're flying out of the cage.
Now I've just got... Have you seen one of the original meme videos where he's the nerd guy with the broomstick?
Oh, yes.
No.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That's old. That's like that's 2006.
That is old.
That is
That
Jerry.
is old. I do remember that.
Nerd guy with broom.
Because didn't they also do the whole special effects, and then he had like Darth Maul's lightsaber. They turned it into Darth Maul's lightsaber, and they actually did sparks and things as he was hitting the curtain. I'm pretty sure that was the one.
I'm sure it's. Yeah. Star Wars Kid is the. It's the. No.
Okay.
Star Wars Kid. It's. Do you know when it was from? I thought it was 06, but
No,
it's
older
I'll
than
give you a
that.
clue. It's
Yeah,
earlier.
it is earlier because I remember when I was working in the company in High Wycombe. I reckon it's 2001.
No, not quite.
No.
2002. It was
2002.
filmed and uploaded. 2003.
Right.
November 4th, to be precise, as Google's telling me right now.
There you go. And Google's never wrong.
That is amazing.
Read
You're gonna have to bleep that as
believe
well.
everything you read. What, just like if you said...
Timestamp.
We're back, baby!
No, it's all right. It generates a caption from using AI. I just have to do a search and find on that one.
Oh, bloody AI making things easy.
And yeah, I still missed one before in a previous month.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I had to go back and edit the video at previous.
I said it, didn't I?
Oh, did I tell you that as well?
You told me that,
Oh,
but it
yeah.
wasn't in your episode. It was in another episode.
No.
If that makes sense. I think it was Fiona's.
And did I say it?
I think it was Fiona's. But either way, Jerry said it, right? So I'm 3-1 up at the moment. That's the beautiful thing.
I'm not sure about that. 3-1?
I am
thought it was-
3-1. I am
I thought it was 3-2.
3-1
I
up.
thought it was 3-2.
No, I am 3-1 up. Nope.
3-2.
You can't take this because I've been keeping a track and a count.
Fair enough.
You know he loves his data. He has a little spreadsheet with everything in.
You laugh.
Dom's like, I'm not being caught out by these questions again. Next year I'm ready.
The joys of AI. Woohoo! I suppose we should mention that the views on this podcast are our own, so it's not that we don't get sued, it's that we don't get fired, I suppose is the question, isn't it?
For God's sake.
Doesn't even bother me anymore. Because I know I could just take it out.
It's still disproportionately funny, though.
It's disproportionately funny for what it is these days. Right. I want to have a rant before we go any further about the Royal Mail, everybody's favourite subject.
Shock.
I'm just going to go put the kettle on.
Yeah, we'll leave you to it.
Leave it to it. What is the one document that you would want the Royal Mail to not fail to deliver? What's the one document that you'd be pretty nervous about?
Your chemotherapy sessions.
Yeah, it's not quite that serious because you probably could get a phone call from hospital. An actual physical document.
Your Jeremy Kyle attendance report.
I would say you'd probably be pretty nervous if they lost your passport, wouldn't you?
Or they stole it.
Well, what's interesting is when you're expecting your new passport to be delivered on Friday and it doesn't turn up, and then you get a phone call from the manager of the head office distribution centre that you're located near, going, "Did you receive your passport yesterday?" And you think, "Why don't you know?"
Why are you asking me that question?
And how do they know it was your
exactly.
passport?
It's tracked. Obviously, your passport is tracked. There's a whole. It's interesting. I did not realise this. When your passport is sent, there's a whole separate, like in the Royal Mail, there's a whole separate complaints department for passport mishandling.
Wow.
They have to have a whole separate department to deal with the complaints with your passport. So, a way for you applying a passport, you have to take your photos, do it online, pay 93 quid for the privilege, and send your old passport to the HM passport office. And then they process it, which took about 30 seconds from once they received my old passport. Genuinely, I've never. This whole process has only been about a week.
Wow.
Legitimately only did it like last week. So
Did you pay for Fast Track?
No.
Oh.
No, I didn't pay any fast track at all. Apparently Christmas is obviously the perfect time to get your passport done. Who knew? And then when they send it back, they send it. It's not signed for, but it is like tracked specifically, which I always thought was a bit weird. I thought you'd want to make sure that you had a signature for it at the other end. But yeah, I was expecting it to be delivered between 12 and 3 on Friday. They phoned me up on Saturday at, must have been about, it was 9 o'clock in the morning because I thought it was too early to ring my parents to have a rant. And they phoned me and said, "Did you receive your passport? Because we don't know." And I'm like, "Why don't you know?" Why don't you know? Plus, he just rang me from his mobile, so it was a random 075 number. So, yeah.
Are you sure this was the Royal Mail?
Well,
The phone you.
yeah, exactly. Well, this is the thing. That's why I now know that there is a specific passport complaints number, because I phoned Royal Mail up, and then one of the options on complaints was, if this is to do with a passport, please hang up and ring this number instead. And I went, oh, okay, well, I'll do that. Rang that number, and I was like, well, I want to check 2 things. One, that the phone call I received from that person was legitimate, right? Have they lost my passport? And 2, can I make sure that this is a formal complaint via Royal Mail to say, why don't you know what you've done with my passport? That's quite nervous because if someone else has just randomly picked it up, great. There is like a huge risk of identity, stolen identity, and all of those bits and pieces of malarkey.
Carl Pilkington's walking around right now pretending to be Dom.
He looks much more handsome than I do, so that's not possible.
Pilkington.
Fortunately, it did turn up yesterday about 3 hours after he phoned me. So evidently the postman that was supposed to deliver it on Friday just kept it in his bag and decided to deliver it on Saturday. But
At least it got delivered. Like,
well,
that's
that was the thing, right? That's the thing. And I have to admit, I am going to still follow this through and be like, why? Why did you put me through all that stress? What was the requirement? And here's all the other times that you're failing. So, Mr. Regional Manager, can you do something with this distribution centre? Because it's driving me bananas at how often you fail at delivering stuff. You have one job, deliver stuff. What do? You don't do that. Completely fail.
I can join you on this, Dom, by the way, for this time only. Is when the whole collect parcel from home service, I think is fantastic. I don't have to get off my arse. I don't have to drive like 20,000 miles just to get to a post office because they shut them all. So they come collect it. But when they come collecting, you don't get that notification come through that they did it, and then you get an email later saying, "Sorry, we couldn't pick up your parcel." I'm like, "Well, you did.
Yeah.
Where is it?" Like I can agree with you on some of this stuff, but you'll be pleased. Aren't they selling it now? To a
They've
Ukrainian
sold
businessman or something.
Czech.
Yeah.
Czech. I thought it was Czech.
Oh, was it Czech? Oh.
Yeah. Have a look. Quick news. Yeah, Czech billionaire.
Czech billionaire.
But
So
how?
there you go. Might go up.
Well,
The
no,
service.
but how? Right? Because the Royal Mail already currently operates a non-profit.
If you believe that, Dom.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah.
How do you think they pay all those bonuses on all those shares?
This is
like
true.
with the profit.
This is very true. Yeah, there is no such thing as a non-profit organisation, is there?
Yeah.
While the Tories have been in charge, so no,
Exactly.
that's a fair point. But I'm not convinced. Like, but why would he invest money to make the service better? Because it already doesn't make any money, and it's like by making it quicker is not going to produce money. It can only produce a certain amount of money.
Was he stoned when he bought that?
Well, he's a billionaire,
Yeah, but
so
still.
potentially.
It's just pocket
money, but you
Yeah,
still
it's
don't
pocket
want to
money.
lose a tenner or 20 quid unnecessarily, do you?
I want to know how much he's buying it for.
Which will be the equivalent for him. He probably bought it for about 20
It's
quid.
like Royal Mail suggested to regular Ofcom that reducing second-class deliveries to every other weekday would save up to £300 million a year and give the business a fighting chance. But you don't deliver anyway. What's the point, right? Why don't you just reduce it to nothing and then you'd already meet your expectations that you currently are at the moment? Just don't deliver, it'd be fine.
So what's the feature then? Where are we going with this? So basically, if you want to deliver something, you just put it in your car, drive to where you need to deliver it to, deliver it yourself, and then come back.
Evidently.
But then pay somebody for that. Pay somebody for the privilege of posting something yourself. Nice. I like it.
Well, yeah, and then, unfortunately, at least if it was an American businessman, he'd ask for a tip on that,
Of
wouldn't he?
course. Absolutely. Regardless of whether you did a good job or not.
Yeah, it's like they've in America there was a load of screenshots that came up on Reddit a couple of weeks ago where the self-checkouts are asking for people to put in a tip, despite the fact that the person has gone into the store, done their own shopping, and then gone to the self-checkout and not interacted with a single person.
Yeah, that's the same. That's the same as when you phone up your insurance company and you say, "I need to make an amendment," and then they're charging you £13 admin fee for them to click a button for you to print it off at home on your own printer. Like,
13 quid. Mine was 25 last time I had to
13
do
is
that.
bargain.
oh well, I'll let them know. Up your prices, pal.
should leave a good review on Trustpilot.
Dom and Jerry paying 25.
I got a bargain.
But the thing is, right, but on top of that, right, so as I'm like you might have experienced this, Jerry, with like house moves and stuff like that. Like you change your driving license, that's like 20 quid or whatever it is. Then you got to change contents insurance, and all of them charge you that admin fee. And I'm like,
Yeah.
to do what? To have a computer say yes or no, and here's the increase, here's the decrease. And if it's car insurance and it goes down because you're in a safer area, do they pass on the savings? Do they?
Yeah, they don't. They don't. They'll keep the premium the same.
I'd like to call one thing out in your sentence there, Dom. It's just a little pernickety thing, just a small thing. They don't charge you to change your driving license. But everything else valid. Driving license, they don't charge you. They don't. Passports, they do. But if you change
passport
anything
doesn't
on
have
your
your address
passport,
on. It doesn't have your
yeah,
address
if you
on.
change anything on your passport, you have to pay.
Yes.
For your driving license, you just send it off.
Driving license. I thought the driving license was a paid one.
Oh, I thought it was paid.
Maybe because last time I did it, it was a renewal, and a renewal is charged.
That's because you were drunk. You're like, I'll put a tenner in. That'll help them.
People that know me know that it's very unlikely that I was drunk.
Driving license, address change. Okay, this is going to make me look like a fool if I've got this completely wrong.
I know a renewal costs. I'm 50-50 now that you've said that.
Change address on your driving license. It does not cost anything to change your address with the DVLA.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You still have to pay the 25 quid admin fee for your car insurance, though.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Which they probably give half of that to DVLA.
Yeah. But car insurance at the moment is extortionate.
Oh, yeah. For a mandatory thing as well.
Yeah. The amount you're paying is it's just with like Admiral, because we had joint car insurance. We tried to renew with them, and they were going to charge us £1,600 for both of us.
What?
Like £800 per car. Yeah. Like, and I kind of get Kirsty's side because she uses her for business, so she has to have
What,
the
her
business
Ferrari?
insurance because
Yeah.
of all the driving around she does. Oh yeah, for that Ferrari, and my Porsche is fine. But like, I expect hers to be maybe possibly a little higher. But yeah, £800. But we got it for like £400 for both of us with another company in the end. But it's just mad the prices are coming. I swear they just pull them out their ass.
But I don't understand when they do the renewal and they say, okay, that's going to be like 1,600 quid, but then you can get it for a quarter of that through another company. So basically what they're doing is saying, we don't mind leasing your business. Even if you've made no claims. I don't understand that.
You've not crashed during that time. You've got older, so therefore apparently the older you get, the more better of a driver you are.
Because your eyesight improves,
Like,
and so
so
does your
all the-
hearing, and your reflexes, and your joints are stronger,
And your spatial awareness.
cognitive abilities.
Like-
All of these things just improve.
Year by year. Yeah.
Don't get me started on crashes, because if someone crashes into you, it doubles your premium.
But it's not your fault.
I know.
What, even
It's
if
not
they
your fault,
rear,
Dom.
But you
It's not
have
your
to.
even if they rear
Yep,
end you,
you
Bishop.
have. So with car insurance, this is the thing, right? I could absolutely go off on one. So, car insurance, if you are involved in an accident, regardless of whether it is your fault or not your fault, you have to declare it on your car insurance for 5 years. If it is, even if it's not your fault, it increases your insurance premiums, which irritates the piss out of me. And it's one of those things that, like, the accident I had now a couple of years ago, if I had full proof, as in I had, like, you know, the dash cam was working and stuff like that, then yes, I probably would have continued with my, I want some money from you because you've raised my premiums for the next 5 years. And I've now calculated that rough cost. And, you know, I have to admit, if somebody now was to crash into me going forward, I would be looking to claim for some money, which is then the reason why insurance premiums go up, because they do stupid things like this, because people like me get wise to it and go, well, people that listen to this podcast should now be wise to it. If somebody crashes into you and you've got 100% reason that it's their fault, please take them to court to claim the money back, because your insurance premiums will go up for the next 5 years. And apparently, because I disputed this with my car with my car insurance company at that time. Like I said, why are you raising my premium? I said, because you've been involved in a crash. It was a non-fault. Statistically, apparently, you're more likely to be involved in a crash after you've been crashed into. Now, I think that's utter balls.
Like, what's this, tit for tat? Oh, you crashed into me, so
Well,
here
yeah.
we go, pal.
Is it going to be you're more likely to crash, or do you suddenly become a magnet for other people to crash into you? No, that's no such thing, right? Because on probability cause, the probability of someone crashing into you remains exactly the same, regardless of whether someone did it to you last week or 17 years ago or never.
Well, you just go, oh well, my car's already dented, so I can just drive more recklessly now. Doesn't matter if I get another dent.
Exactly. It makes no sense. It's in that sphere of like recent events that myself and Jerry have recently discussed, which we can't go into because it's all work related, where somebody has pulled something out of the air and you think. The good thing is I can mute just Hooper if I need to.
Actually,
right, it's just pulled something.
just to be clear.
Well, that makes me 4-1, Jerry.
No, wait 1 second. No, not when it's deliberate like that. That doesn't count.
No.
Yes, it does not count.
Because I have to do the work to remove it.
Wait 1 second. No.
The trick is, Jerry, is to say it when Dom's halfway through a sentence. Because then the continuity of him trying to edit that together to get rid of the word. Oh no, because all the audio tracks are separate, aren't
Yes, they're all separate. I've got 3 separate audio tracks, and in fact, the audio and the video are split, so I can even
that.
like make you a black screen without affecting the audio if I wanted to.
That completely shits on my fun.
Sorry. Thank you, Riverside.
Dom's like, I'm never having this guy on ever again.
It's going to be something in the data that says that you've said this word X number of times now, Hooper, so I've had to take it out. That's this amount of time.
And then you're going to calculate how much like time cost that is, and then bill me, invoice me, and say, right, it cost me £5,000 in a year to edit your shit out of the podcast.
It's all going on the spreadsheet.
Yep, pretty much. We'll have a good spreadsheet. Oh dear. Shall we talk about something happier?
No.
No. Okay.
I don't want to.
People don't want to hear
come
happy.
on.
There is something to bonding over, like maybe that's why Room 101 was so successful as a television program. There must be something to do with bonding over shared trauma.
There is. I think there is.
I'm just going to die. Anyway, I want to talk about my holiday anyway.
Can you just...
Well, that was
Yeah, it was a
extreme.
bit extreme. Can you at least wait until we finished and then... You're all right, Dom.
No, because I'm muting myself, and I felt like I've just swallowed
A fly.
a frog in my throat. Swallowed a frog.
Perhaps you'll die. Then you need to
Wait.
swallow
No,
a
why?
spider to catch
Yeah.
the fly.
Dom, you coming down with something?
I hope not.
Bloody
It's just
hell.
about to be Christmas.
Yeah, you want to avoid everything and everyone.
Yeah.
I did make the mistake today. I went to Asda today. It's a Sunday
rookie
at
error.
midday.
What?
The Sunday before Christmas. Oh, the thing I
This
don't get is
guy.
why does people like? It's clearly rammed to hell. So why do people still insist having their trolleys diagonally across the aisle?
It's a good point.
Just common
Good
sense, a
point.
little bit of thought. Oh, I see my mate. I'm gonna have a chat with my trolley across the aisle.
Diagonally.
My kids are
Yeah.
running diagonally. My kids are running
Kids
up
are
and
also
down.
running diagonally.
Most
Yeah.
of them are. And when you're my height, you can't see them. I'm always scared that I'm just going to accidentally just absolutely knee one in the face as it's just walked around the corner and I've just walked.
I love how you call children it. It walks around the corner.
Well, I'm not going to discriminate on whether it is, male, female, non-binary, hasn't identified themselves.
They.
They, it, It's more appropriate with children, I think.
Never meeting my child. Just first time Dom meets my child is drop kicks it across the living room.
Knees it in the face. Have it.
What he says.
Oh dear. Right, I want to talk about my holiday because I think that's much more important. But you two sound so enthusiastic. Oh my god, it's like honestly, you two today.
Well, you said I'm going to talk about my holiday. We're not going to start that conversation.
Jeez.
Talk about your fucking holiday, Dom. Sorry, I didn't have a list of questions for you. What was the average weather during that time that you were away, please?
Well, the average weather was 32 degrees for the whole time I was there.
Was it really?
Lovely. Next topic.
Now, hang about. Don't move on yet. I want to know humidity levels.
Ah, good one.
Oh, that was the
humidity.
question. I don't know. I didn't look. It was in the 80s to 90s.
There you go. Now we can move on.
There you go.
Right.
80 to 90%.
Right, next topic.
Yeah, cool. Let's go to the next topic then.
No, come on. Tell us about the Maldives.
Well, that's because you know where I went. Yes, I went to the Maldives. It was lovely. I want to do it again.
Cool, next topic.
I don't want to go again. Actually, interesting.
What's it twinned with? Is it New Malden?
Oh, what is it?
Dunno.
Let's look.
Well, I don't think a country is twinned with anything. You'd have to do the.
I think it's New Malden.
Apparently it's Sri Lanka.
Okay.
According to Google AI, the Maldives is often paired with Sri Lanka for a multi-center holiday. Oh, okay, right. So they're not saying they're twin. They're just saying generally people will go to the Maldives and then go to Sri Lanka in a holiday.
Well, so the capital of the Maldives is Mali.
Which is twinned with.
I'm just seeing if I can find it. Oh, it is twinned with Jiangsu in China.
That's not what my Google's coming up with. How do you spell Mali? I put M-A-L-I.
No, Mali is E with an accent on it. It's spelt like male with an E in the accent.
Oh, that's why it's coming up with Hay on Y in Wales, twinned with Timbuktu in 2007.
Nice.
This is why spelling matters, kids.
Don't leave school.
Yeah.
Stay in
I mean, I
school.
went to school, I still get it wrong. So.
Some of us might question whether you went to school.
So come on then, tell us about your holiday.
Nice.
Well-
Yeah, it was good. So,
It was good. Right, thank you, Dom, for that very in-depth description.
Based on the start, I'm having one of these days where I'm just like, I'm not really sure I'm up for this. I'm on a proper struggle bus. Oh dear. Oh my god. Right, so yes,
You went
just
to the
gonna keep
Maldives.
I went to the Maldives. I would thoroughly recommend people taking a type of holiday where you do absolutely naff all because it's lush. And I know that Jerry, you've been wanting to do a holiday and you haven't got
No,
a
it's
chance
okay.
to.
I haven't had a holiday in the last 40 years. Not going to have a holiday in the next 40. So that's fine.
The problem with that is Jerry's only 37, so how does that
Exactly.
work?
Exactly. Thank you, Dom.
Because you didn't go to school.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. So I flew from London Heathrow to Mali Airport, which is the capital of Maldives, and it's it's not the only international airport, but it's a fairly substantial international airport. I flew premium, so one down from upper class, and I'm never going to fly anything less because it's so much better than economy.
Oh, premium's great. Like with just the 2 seats that you've got either side. Like there's 2 seats in the row normally.
So normally,
makes
this normally
sense.
has in economy it was 2, 5, 2, setting. In premium, it was a 2-3-2 setting. So the corridors were a little bit like the.
But bigger seats as
Yeah.
well, normally. Like
Well-
wider seats.
Wider seats, but I think the biggest thing was the width of the armrest. So you never were fighting with anybody to have your elbow on an armrest at any point. And because I went on my own and I sat in the sort of section with 3, but on one side, I knew that the 2 people to the left of me were probably going to be a couple. So the person in the middle was always going to that side, so they weren't going to interrupt
I
me.
have a question. Have you ever done a 4-4-2, but with you on the wing?
Are you doing
No,
football
I
now?
was a goalkeeper, Jerry, so
Oh,
it didn't matter
okay.
what the
Right, yeah,
formation
fair
was. What do you do with the lankiest kid in school?
Yeah,
do
you
you
have
stick
to
him in
be
goal
goal.
because he's the only one that can actually touch the
have
bar?
to be goal, 100%.
What?
How tall were you in school?
I was over 6 foot when I was 12. I grew early.
Probably be like, why is there a fully grown man in the year 8
Unfortunately,
year 8
Need to call
assembly?
social services.
Unfortunately, you could tell that I was like 12 years old though because of my facial structure. So it just looked like someone had just taken like a year 8 and stuck it on a twig's body. Like I was built like a sticking set. There's no other word for it. So yes, I was tall when I was 12, 13. And then feel sorry for my best mate Erin, who is roughly the same height than me. He's about he's probably a little bit shorter than me, but he didn't hit that height until he was like 19. So I went like that, and he went like that.
Wow.
I thought you were going to say that your best mate was like 3'2" or something.
No,
That'd have been an interesting dynamic at school.
not quite. Not quite. Although I don't recommend dating anyone under 5 foot. It doesn't quite work.
Just for anybody or people over 6 foot?
No, generally people over 6 foot. Like having a large height difference does look a little bit weird.
That mistletoe at Christmas becomes different.
I don't know where you're going. I'm going to move on. This is where I get to make you very...
Maldives. Dom. Maldives.
So I was in a chalet over the ocean, which... So it had steps down to the ocean. I probably should put... Well, you've got me on Instagram, Hooper, so I don't know if you've seen them.
I've seen
on
them as
Instagram.
well. You sent them to me.
I was watching them.
They're amazing.
Watching them, seeing them, saw them.
Yeah. So it's like... Had like a... It was almost like a decking that kind of came out over the top of the ocean, and then there were steps down into it. That first section was the same height as sort of like you could walk in the sea, and it was probably about just below my chest level. And then loads of snorkeling, loads of fish, which was brilliant. What else did I do? I went paddleboarding as well for the first time, which is now going to be my new thing for 2025. I don't know if you've done paddleboarding, Hooper.
I'm scared of water.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So no is the answer to that. But I did see your paddleboarding post because you put, was it Strava that you were
Yes,
using?
it's Strava, yeah.
Where you showed the path and stuff. Were you only allowed to go up and down in that area, or was that just what the sea was doing for you, bringing you back in and taking you back out?
No, I mean, so how to describe it? Like, it's quite weird because the island itself, where I said you got that bit that you can kind of walk up to, when you get to the end of that, like it drops off like a cliff to the point you can't see the bottom of the ocean. You either can stand in it or you can't see the bottom. And the current in the Indian Ocean is really strong. Like, around that section, they had buoys kind of linked together with rope. And so, as you kind of walked out from my chalet, if you got to the end of that rope and then you looked down, you could I've never had this experience where I could feel the current and also see the rip tides. Now, I'm on my own on a paddleboard that I've never used before, so it's like I don't particularly want to go like 4 miles out and then suddenly find I don't have the strength to come back in. and also you only had an hour, and I wanted to learn how to stand up and things like that. So I didn't. My aim wasn't to travel really far. My aim was to kind of get used to it and see how hard work it was and try and stand up, which I did attempt. Immediately fell in, got back up on the paddleboard, and then a black-tipped reef shark decided to swim underneath my paddleboard, and I went, I'm going to try and avoid falling in from now, if that's all right.
They're harmless, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, he was about as the length of my calf, but even so, it's sort of like, it's going to hurt if he has a bit of a nibble. It was the day before I was flying back. Decided not to.
Literally, when you started that sentence, I thought you were going to say, it's the size of my car. And then I thought, okay, that could be a bit more intimidating. Then you said calf.
Yeah, it's probably what? Like, you can't see me, but I don't know.
10 centimetres?
No, it was a bit more than that.
How big's your calf?
No, I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, but if there's 100 of them and they're nibbling
My
away at
calf's
you,
easily over nearly 2 foot. A foot. It's easily a foot.
Are you talking about
From my knee to the floor, like not just the calf area, from my knee to the
Well,
floor.
that's not your calf, is it?
What is it then?
Knee height.
Well, okay, fine. Right, for being pedantic, but your calf runs from the bottom of your knee to the base of your foot, so.
Does it?
Yes.
I thought it was only like a small muscle on
No.
that part. Right, okay.
Calf
here
is
we go.
made up
lots of
of like
giggling now.
3.
Calf size. Let's have a. Oh well, I do apologise, Dom.
What's that? 1-1 now?
I never knew that you measured your calf literally from the joint in your, or the bend in your knee to
Yeah.
the bottom of the floor.
Yep.
But that includes your foot. So how can that be part of your calf?
So the big fleshy bit is the gastrocnemius. That's the kind of
Easy
what
for you
people
to say.
Yeah. I'm never good at the Latin names. And then there is a second muscle that runs on the inside and runs kind of around the back and either side of your legs, and that goes to the floor, and that is your soles muscle, which is what kind of keeps your foot from basically doing that, because obviously your ankle is a ball joint.
Did you know this, Jerry? Or am I
I
just
know.
on me?
I knew all of this. I'm a qualified doctor. No, I didn't.
This is AI.
No, I literally didn't have a Scooby.
Okay.
Sometimes
People can't say that this is not an educational podcast.
You're gonna actually be richer with information.
not a good educated put
Well.
yourself.
We never made any promises about
You can
anything.
learn all about the Royal Mail and their failures.
Royal Mail and their failures. You don't have to you can change your driving license without being charged.
If you have an accident, you can take people to court.
Go and claim,
for
'cause it's really
the next 5
expensive.
years. Yeah.
This is not consumer advice. This is education.
We're like Martin Lewis.
Exactly.
We're
Oh no! Don't say that, Jerry, because the legend, the legend, will be on to you. Martin
Yeah,
Lewis
because
is
you know,
somewhat.
Jerry, you and your lawsuits that come towards you.
actually being filed as we speak.
I hope you've got good
I don't
representative.
have any representation. I better start Googling that now.
That explains a lot.
Yes.
Then, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
I wonder if you could have an AI solicitor. Like, if you had, like, this machine in the courtroom that would listen to what they're saying and then be able to analyse and come back with the response.
I'd imagine you probably could.
That's a good idea.
I mean, there's a lot, because you've seen a lot of them where they're on job interviews and their headphones off, so it's coming out on speakers, and they've got their phone and they're pressing some sort of AI that's listening to the conversation, and then is showing you a response on screen on the phone that you can then read out.
That's mad.
I think we've just come up with a business idea here.
No, that should have been done. But
AI
what you mean the
solicitors
solicitor?
For you. The solicitors. The lawyers. A judge, an AI judge.
Oh, That could get
Oh.
dangerous.
I mean,
Have
you
you-
know, AI is not biased or anything.
No, actually, my favourite thing that I saw this week, and this is one that you'll love, Hooper, is people have been going to customer support teams and going, I want to talk to a real person, and it's responded, I am a real person, and then they've gone, and then they've typed back, write me a React block that builds this part of a website, and then they go, here's the code for the React. yeah.
Oh,
No
shit.
way.
Call out.
And all the responses on Reddit have been like, no, but Amir clearly knows how to write React just from the top of his head like that.
He's been majorly underutilized.
Majorly underutilizing customer support. Or he's a developer that pushed something live and is now being punished.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy. It's frightening.
Just think of all the
How have they not
possibilities.
tested that properly? Like, come on, like.
Well, it was the same with that. Like they tried AI with sales, and somebody managed to convince. I think it was in America, a Chevrolet retailer to sell him the car for $1.
I've got to Google that.
Yeah.
How the
Yeah.
hell did he manage that?
I mean, if you tell it, if you ask it, can you look at all of your sales and all of your information that you've got on how to reduce the price of a car and try and get the car to $1? It's going to do it because it's not going to know not
Wonder
to
if
do
the-
it
Yeah.
unless you've taught it to not to.
So I wonder if they haggled. If that person haggled with AI, or literally just came up with something that tricked the AI into going, okay, then you can have the car for $1. That's mad.
Yeah.
We've gone so far off.
Need to try
We've
this.
gone
now.
so,
Gone far,
so
please.
far
Yeah,
off
sorry.
the paddleboard
No. It's-
path.
I want to do more paddleboarding in 2025. That's definitely something I want to do. But you won't be interested in joining us, Hooper.
No.
I mean, you could do it.
That'd
Jerry,
be a
won't
weird podcast, wouldn't it? 3 men butt naked. Not butt naked.
you? Oh, Jesus
What?
Christ!
Where are you going with,
Half naked
where
on
are
a
you going with
paddleboard.
this?
Naked paddleboarding. There you go. There's a new thing.
I'm sure there probably is something on the internet for that. Nudists like to do some weird things, don't they?
I don't know. I don't know any nudists, to be honest. Obviously, you do.
Oh dear. Anyway, to summarise, Maldives, it was lovely, but it's probably not something I'd do again. I put it in the same category as when I went to Jamaica. It was wonderful while I was there, but I've done it, been there, done that. Don't need to get another T-shirt. So, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Would recommend.
I do agree with you there around the holidays of where you literally just do fuck all. They're just don't do them often, but we did it for one Christmas. We just went away for Christmas, and they like obviously cooked every meal and all of this, and you didn't have to worry about a thing, and you could just do whatever you want. We played a lot of Uno.
Where,
But it
where
was
did you
just
go?
great because then you come back feeling like it was somewhere in the UK. I can't remember the
UK.
place. Yeah, it was just like a hotel. There was apart from because it was over Christmas. Obviously, they had all the coaches coming in with all the old people that were doing the same thing, and Kirsty and I were probably the youngest people there
By about 40 years.
by a lot.
What was interesting, because although I went on my own, and I had all inclusive, I thought I'd be the only one on my own, and there were a lot of areas that were set up for honeymooners. I'm not gonna deny that there was like a big giant glowy love heart and stuff like that. But I wasn't the only one that was on my own. There were a few others dotted around when you kind of at different times in the meals. And similar to you, like that was exactly what I needed, was the fact that I didn't have to worry about food. In fact, the mini bar that they had was was included in that as well. So, which had snacks and drinks and stuff like that. So, and then on top of that, I had like a couple of excursions and stuff. So it just didn't have to buy anything while I was out there, which is good because the stuff that you did have to buy was extortionate. and I overheard someone getting their bill at the end, and it was over $4,000, and I was like, wow. Now, okay, admittedly, my whole trip has cost me $6,000, but that included the flights with upgrade and all inclusive right from the beginning. So, what were his flight? You know, what the flights were the expensive bit on in the cost bit. They were nearly $2,000 of that $6,000. So I've it kind of coming up there, but if you weren't careful there, you could easily just shoot your price like that. So it was nice not to have to worry about that while I was there. I could just grab and go and do whatever I want.
No wonder your car insurance is charging you £25 per amendment if you got $6,000 to spank on holiday by yourself.
I had $6,000 set aside. I had $8,000 set aside for something else that I was supposed to be doing, but I couldn't do because it is unfortunately impossible for me to medically get done. So, well, without quadrupling. I was going to get my teeth straightened,
Right.
but they can't do it without jaw surgery, and so I set aside $8,000 to do that, and they were sort of quoting. They were quoting 25. So.
And that's just the NHS.
So I got really sad, and that's when I booked the holiday, and I don't regret it.
Good. As long as you don't regret it.
Yeah. So it's fine.
So what? It's an experience, right? You're never going to forget that.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. It was an experience. I've done it. I'm really happy that I've done it. Would recommend other people to do it. Probably wouldn't do it again, but that's a different thing.
So what did the instructor say when you came back off your paddleboard crying, saying that you saw a shark the size of a horse?
No, I
It
didn't
was
come
so
back.
big.
I didn't come back crying.
Trying to get me.
I just kind of got back on my paddleboard. I'm probably just not going to try and fall back in. And then when I did come back, and they said, when you did fall off, it was pretty spectacular. Because it was kind of very cartoonesque, where I'd stepped too far back on the board, so the board went up, and I went backwards, and the board went like that. So, you know.
Yeah, but I have to say, Hoops,
Ridiculous.
shark's a shark, right? I mean, yeah.
Well done.
They are.
The
They
sharks
are
are
sharks.
sharks.
They have teeth. They will nibble away at your leg.
But they don't.
bite your leg off.
That's a myth. Sharks don't attack. Okay, hold
They
on.
do if you're wearing a Lady Gaga meat suit. If you've got a 16-ounce
sure it's like-
bloody sirloin strapped to your calf muscle, right? They're going to go for it, aren't they?
And you do this how often a year?
Or even some salami or something like that.
That's just Jerry's Tuesday outfit. It's a Tuesday
good.
outfit.
Very good.
Okay, so apparently, according to Google, when was this done? This was June 2024.
By the way, I love the fact that the person that is scared of the water is giving me advice on the fact that I should have just manned up the fact that there was a shark in the water and just carried on.
This is the hypocrisy that we live in, Dom. Deal with it. This is why I could work in government. I'll be good at this.
James Hooper, king of the bullshit. I'm going to change your name now.
Unprovoked shark bites are slightly higher than average this year. With a total, how many do you reckon there is? A total. Okay, so this is 2023 worldwide reported shark bites.
Oh, it's probably in the. It's probably something. It's either something silly like below 100 or over 10,000.
Well, that's a big range to choose from.
No. Yeah.
It's probably a number.
No, as in like it'll be below 100, or
Okay.
it'll be like 10,000 plus. But I'm.
What are you going for?
I'll go below
I'm
100.
going to go below 100 as well.
Yeah, it's a funny number. 69. Dinner for two. Yeah, 69 confirmed unprovoked cases. What is a provoked case? Sorry, but who the f*** is going into the sea going, come on, Come at me, bro.
I'm
Like-
gonna punch it on the snout. That'll do it. won't
Is
it?
a meat suit provocation?
I would say that would provoke a shark to come attack you, yes. How many shark fatalities do you reckon there was?
3.
What? What in 2003 to 2003?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably around about 3 to 5.
Nah, 14.
Really, that's more than I thought they'd be.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite a
There you go.
dodgy percentage. If there's 69 attacks and 14 of them are fatal, that's what? 1 in 3?
Roughly, yeah.
1 in 4? 1 in 4.
There was more.
Yeah, and now you're going to compare it to people being stampeded by cows.
That's exactly where I'm
Yeah,
going.
yeah. There were more deaths by cows in 2003.
Well, there was more accidents by cows.
And
But
I
I
maintain
suppose-
this, right? Cows terrified the shit out of me.
There's nothing wrong with cows.
No, there is a lot wrong with cows. When you're
Why
in
the fuck are you living in Somerset?
that's a very good point.
Cough, London boy.
No! Take me by the beach. It's safer. There's less shark attacks than there are cow attacks. Therefore, I want to live on the seaside, not in the countryside. Right? I maintain this fact religiously.
And then you can tell your home insurance, no, statistically, I'm
It's
less likely
safer.
to die in Cornwall than I am in Somerset because there's less cows, pal. All right?
Yay!
Shot, another digression. We've gone so far off topic.
Have you not been on the Distinctive Jovial podcast before?
I think I'm probably your worst guest you ever have
No.
because I never stick to the topics for you.
No. Have you met Jerry?
I never deviate. Never. Laser
Rubbish.
focused I am.
In your mind, you're laser focused.
It's a very small laser.
Unfortunately, that laser is going through a hall of mirrors. So every now and then, donk.
I like that metaphor.
Oh, thank you. I came up with it
There you
myself.
Is that it on the
Oh,
Maldives though?
Let's do the. We can end there on the
Really?
Maldives, unless you want to hear more. I loved it.
Okay.
It was good. I mean, I could show you photos for hours and hours and hours, but I'm conscious we've already been talking for an hour and we've got 4 other topics.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got
Fair enough.
Hooper. We got Hooper on the thing. Can't make it all. It's not all about me, Jerry.
Okay.
I mean, it is, but it's not.
We can make it about you.
Yeah. What's also interesting fact: the sun has set, despite the fact that it's only 4:10 in the evening. My watch has just buzzed. Tell me the sun has set.
Is that right?
Are you okay, Dom?
Yeah.
Are we
Just-
officially
just-
now into evening? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Well, it was the shortest day
It was.
yesterday, wasn't it?
yeah. So stuff's getting longer. Yay!
Oh, I don't know where to put my light. That's scary.
Yeah, it is a little bit off. But what? Why?
Oh yeah. So sunset 3 minutes past 4. That's on the Met Office website. So.
Yep.
Well, if your watch is just pinged, it's 10 minutes late.
Well, yeah, it's pretty.
So then there's no
standard, my
point
watch.
having your watch ping you.
Right, I'm gonna have revenge. I'm gonna have my revenge. We're gonna do some blindly rates.
Oh. Okay.
This is Jerry's
Oh
favourite thing.
Jesus. Oh no.
I will never let Jerry forget about eggs. Boiled eggs.
I'm going to fail miserably on this one. Especially the first one.
Are you there, Hoops?
I am.
Right, you must know what a blindly rates is.
Yep. You get something and then you say what number it goes into and you don't know what all the others are to be able to...
So let's start.
I've seen
off.
TikTok. Come on. Come on.
Ours are clearly the best.
Obviously.
The one where I got Jerry with boiled eggs.
Boiled eggs.
Let's go on its number one slot. Right, shall start with Star Wars characters. As you may have guessed with Hooper's entrance, he
Well, that's let some light in,
not
isn't
bad going,
it?
actually. It'll create heat as well. Make sure it doesn't scorch the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, it might
Yeah.
burn the house down, but hey. Swings and roundabouts.
Star Wars characters. There's only
Yes.
5 for both of these.
Okay.
So, character number 1, Jar Jar Binks.
5.
I like Jar Jar as a character. I even have him as a pop figure right there.
Good lord.
I've got Jar Jar. I'm gonna put him 3, bang average, bang in the middle.
It's with you there, James. King of the bullshit.
I am the Jar Jar of the podcast.
Watto. And if you can remember who Watto is, Watto
He's
is
the Anakin's I don't know, boss, whatever you call him.
he is Anakin's master when Anakin is a slave. I didn't realise that did it itself.
Yeah, gets bored after a while and goes wrong, turning himself off.
And he is the one that owns Shmi Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker.
4.
5. I'm gonna chuck him in as
4.
5.
Okay, R2D2.
Four, he swears a lot. So you have to bleep him
Put
out.
R2 at 4. Seriously? Seriously?
Yeah,
Below Jar Jar Binks?
you leave Jar Jar alone.
Well, I'm going to go number 1. Yeah,
Number
I love a bit of
1.
R2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can't beat R2D2. General Grievous.
Yeah, there you go.
Shit, I only have like 2 and 1 left.
I've
Yes.
done this before.
Jerry has 3 and 2 left.
3.
I mean, it was pretty cool with like his multiple arms and multiple lightsabers, but
But what have I got last?
do you know what? I'm gonna put it as 2 and just hope that something good is coming.
Right, so number 2 for Jerry and number 1 for Hooper, Jyn Erso, who is the main character from Rogue One.
The guy who makes
No,
the Death Star. Is that not him?
his daughter.
Oh, his daughter. Oh, okay, right. I really enjoyed Rogue One as a film. I thought it was pretty good.
I think
So
Rogue One is
I'm
probably...
happy with number 1.
I think Rogue One is probably one of the best.
I know this is controversial, but I put Rogue One up there with Episode 4.
I think Rogue One is the second best Star Wars film. And I think Episode
Yeah.
4 is third.
Empire.
Third.
Empire's number 1.
Yeah, Empire's number 1.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed Rogue One. I just think it was very well made, and the story was just perfect to be a transition into 4.
Yes.
So what else did you want? Quite enjoyed it. I think it was like practically perfect in every way. When you then compare it to the other spin-offs,
Solo wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I think the one thing I really disliked about Solo was the amount of famous people that were playing characters in it. Because
Yes.
one thing I love about Star Wars is that they bring in actors that aren't very well known to the general public, or it's their debut film that they're doing, and they absolutely smash it because they're able to choose the actors perfectly. And to bring in like Woody Harrelson and Emilia Clarke and all of those, I was like, not what I want in a Star Wars
Yeah.
film.
It didn't do... Like, Game of Thrones did that as well. Like, Game of Thrones made those actors.
Yeah.
Star Wars should be the same.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah. Cool. Would you change any of your orders? So you've got...
Yes, I would.
I wouldn't actually.
What would you have instead, Hooper?
I would chuck Grievous right down to 5 and bump everybody up, which means that Jar Jar goes to 2.
You'd still keep R2D2 at 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's a good character, but, like, fine. Like, he's... I don't know, he just... Yeah, he's R2.
You wouldn't
Like,
change
he
yours.
doesn't have that kind of, like... I don't have that connection with R2 like I do with the other character. Like, if you said Darth Maul, by the way, that would have been top number 1.
Really?
Like, 100%.
Controversial.
Darth Maul is my ultimate, like, Star Wars... Like, even more so over any Jedi, Darth Maul is, like, up there. And that's for 2 reasons. One's because I think he's a cool character. Like, absolute, like, legend. Apart from in, obviously, the new trilogy where he came back and they had to show that his legs were cut off and all of that kind of crap. Like... We
But
knew
I mean,
it was
that
Darth
actually has...
Maul.
That is... They didn't do that in the trilogy, but that was in Clone Wars, the...
No. In the new ones, which one was it? The number 9, I think it was, where Darth Maul came back, and he was a hologram in front of Rey, and they had to, like, show this was Darth Maul because they did the double lightsaber thing and they showed that he had mechanical legs and all of this kind of thing. Although everybody knew that is Darth Maul. We know who he is. We don't need the double lightsaber. We don't need to know that his legs got cut off in episode 1. Like, we know who he is. That could have just been left as a nice Easter egg for the nerds, pretty much. But also, Phantom Menace is probably my second favourite film out of the Star Wars, because it was the first film my dad took me to see when I was a child. So I have such, like, connection with that that it really bumps it up.
I think The Phantom Menace is underrated.
I think it's underrated. I think it's a decent
It's not
film.
a bad film.
No, it's
It's not a great
but it's not a
film,
bad
but it's not a
film.
bad
Yeah, I agree.
film. And it gave us, like, probably one of the best soundtracks sections in that bit, the Duel of Fates. And I hands down maintain that Star Wars has the best sounds, not necessarily the best soundtrack. It has a good soundtrack, it's very good. It's not necessarily the best, but there are certainly ones that are. It certainly has the best sounds. Everything from the sonic grenade that Jango Fett uses to lightsabers themselves, right? All of it. It's just brilliant.
So I'm going to throw
What's
out,
that?
I'm going to throw in 2 other characters: the Gonk droid.
Conk.
Gonk. And also Jabba's sidekick, that little gremlin little thing there. It giggles a lot.
Hold on. I'm having... Oh, that little thing. Yeah, okay. It's called Salacious Crumb.
Yes.
It's just
Did not know that.
I would have been able to told you off the top of my head what it was, but when you've said that, I did know that. That was deep down in
Salacious
there.
Crumb.
Yeah.
I think that should be my name on the
Yeah.
Salacious
Crumb.
Crumb.
I can't spell that. Cannot spell that.
The one thing that is annoying me with Disney at the moment, I think, is they're pushing
Utterly ruined it.
a lot of low quality Star Wars stuff out at the moment. Like, I didn't like Mandalorian season 3. I thought that was
Not seen it yet.
incredibly boring. I didn't like what's the new one that's just come out with Ahsoka? Is that how you say it?
Ahsoka, yeah.
Yeah, that one I found incredibly boring. The storylines are very much tended towards a young audience, and they don't put in the Easter eggs for the more like fans of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a bit like there's nothing to keep.
Have you
me
seen
personally.
the animated series Clone Wars?
Do you know what? No, I've not seen.
See, I'm working my way through it, and that's why I haven't seen Ahsoka or the third one or any of the or Obi-Wan or Andor yet, because apparently the Clone Wars and the animated show, apart from actually being quite good, explains a lot of stuff.
Right. Maybe it could be that then, that I'm not seen
But
the
I
animated
also agree with you
versions.
that there has been some utterly garbage stuff. I think
Yeah.
it's interesting. Upon reflection, the newest 3 movies. So episode was it 7, 8, 9?
Uh-huh.
8, 9? Yeah, 7, 8, 9. All awful. When you as a combined thing, I very cannot. Just the way it's got that Game of Thrones ending for me, where I now can't watch them because I think they did such a poor job, especially with episode 9.
I kind of see that, and I do agree to an extent. But I think one thing that Disney really has is the ability to make something aesthetically amazing.
Oh yeah,
Like those kind of visuals of like the ships going over the salt plains, like, and all of that, like, just incredible. And they had some like real interesting pieces that they added in there. Like Kylo Ren, I thought was like a real good character to add in, and Adam Driver I think played it perfectly as well. I really like Adam Driver. But then when they brought Palpatine back, like that first 10 minutes of that last episode, and you hear Palpatine, that got me fucking excited.
Oh, really?
Not in that way, people. Anybody will get your minds out of the gutter. But I'd like to hear his voice and think, he's back. And you're thinking, how the fuck is he back?
yeah.
Because he fell down the abyss in that hole after he got through down there by Darth Vader. But like, I don't know. I think they could have done a lot more with it.
They
didn't.
episode the last 3 they made the same mistake that they made in the first 3 episodes. Like 1, 2, and 3. Who's the protagonist? And I mean that in the sense of you had Rey on one hand, but you also had Finn, played by John Boyega.
Yeah.
And then they just did nothing with John Boyega's character in episode 9.
Yeah, that's true.
Who I arguably like, and don't get me wrong, I think Daisy Ridley I think she did a good job with a poor script, but John Boyega's character and his acting, I think, made him more interesting for me. And that's what disappoints me. They just made too many characters, and you just like.
So now you've said that, do you reckon it's because of merch? They created all those characters so they could just push merch and gain more revenue that way.
It depends, doesn't it? Right? Because who, like, you do need 2 characters as like kind of your main point. Like if you think about the first two seasons, especially of The Mandalorian, right? You're literally following. It's the Mandalorian is the main protagonist, but he has a job which is to pay attention to Grogu, right? So they've got 2 characters that they can really play off of. What I didn't get, you don't get that with Rey and Finn. Like, what do those characters have that are related? They just tried to create another Luke and Leia dynamic, and it didn't work. Because you also then had the protagonist who has nothing to do with Finn, and to a certain extent has nothing to do with Rey.
Yeah.
If you
you're
deep
right.
the Star Wars movie, like I seem to have done, you can ruin it. The visuals and the sounds and stuff, I think, is really good. I thought the story was pretty poor, and I think what frustrates me is I could have come up with a better storyline.
Yeah.
I think I could have come up with something better.
I would have used my data from my spreadsheet.
Oh yes.
And
Whereas-
Finn would have logged into the spreadsheet and said, look, we need to go to Tatooine on this date. Because
Yeah.
this is when the data tells
We're
me
all
to
going to
go.
go to the same planet over and over and
You
over
need to
again.
get there before 3 minutes past 4, because that's when the sun sets.
Yeah.
By the way, they did Solo, didn't they? Right.
Yeah.
I think they should do another one devoted just to one character, and it should be called Crumb.
Crumb.
I want to know the background to Salacious Crumb.
Absolutely not.
Why
Absolutely
not? I think it'd be quite interesting.
I think it'd be a very short fucking story.
Probably.
Also, my final point, just by the way, because they've now done those 3 episodes that I don't think are that good, unfortunately, it's ruined the Star Wars because it's all canon. So you for me, anything else that they now do, it's really difficult. They almost need to do a bit of a reset somehow. Don't know how you do it, but they kind of did it at the MCU, didn't they? They got to the end of Phase 4, and they just kind of or the end of Phase 3, sorry, did Avengers Endgame, and then just moved half the characters on and just said, look, they're no longer part of it. Goodbye. And it meant that they could kind of rinse and repeat and restart. I've got my whole other opinions on the MCU, but
I think the difference is I know the most of Marvel's been bought by Disney, but I think they've kept the same audience in mind when they're creating these films. Whilst I think Disney have tried to youngify it quite a lot, which I think doesn't work for I can't believe I'm using this term, the older generation, the older fans of Star Wars. Because I think what they need to do is they need to create a film that is specifically for those audience, and I think that'll draw people back in, personally.
18 plus Star Wars film.
I think that's something different, Dom.
Not that type of 18 plus.
We don't need porn parodies of this.
No, we don't need a real 34. No, but you know what I mean, a 15 Star Wars film, not a rated 3 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Interestingly, I'm going massively off track, but to a different universe. I watched a TikTok, Instagram reel, and it was it was the actors that play Merry and Pippin, Dominic and. Ooh, can't remember who played.
Are you about Come Outside?
No. The name of the guy that played Merry, his first name is Dominic.
What are you on about?
Right.
All I know is when you say Pippin, I think of Come Outside.
With the plane with the polka dots, multicoloured.
With the plane, she did a lot for global warming at that time.
Well, it was either that or an X-wing.
I need to get some
X-wing
milk,
with polka dots. Pippin in the back,
Lord of the
R2.
Rings, you bunch of muppets.
Right. Okay. Well, give
Peregrine
the context.
Took. Right. Peregrine Took, who played him, was played by Billy Boyd, and it was Dominic Monaghan who played Merry Ardick Brandybuck. I was watching a TikTok, and they said that I didn't know this, but Lord of the Rings is rated a 12, which means that you're allowed exactly one swear word in the film.
What's a swear word?
And they would still get through the censors. And let's say an American swear word. So we can't use the infamous Australian swear word, shall we say? American swear word.
Bobo, you.
That one I'm going to film.
It's such a different film. No, Bobo, you silly. Take the ring off. Oh my god, why has nobody dubbed it like that? That would be hilarious.
Are you sure we have to let that through? Yes, they're allowed one. They're allowed one. But they've gone nuclear with it. Yeah, but they're allowed one.
Yeah.
But you could put it in. You could put it anywhere, because then it could be like Sean Bean when he's doing that thing. Instead of going, one does not simply fucking walk to Mordor. And it would get past the censors. My one would. Yours probably wouldn't.
Yeah, probably wouldn't. What was the swear word though in it?
No, there isn't one. That's the discussion. They're saying that so there isn't any swearing in any of the Lord of the Rings films, but they're still rated a 12, which means that you could add a swear word into each of the Lord of the Rings film, and the rating would not change. And they were sort of discussing where would you put it. So that was one of the suggestions. One of the other ones was when in the Fellowship of the Ring, when Merry goes, instead of just going Buckleberry Ferry, you could go fucking Buckleberry Ferry, and it would still get through. And things like that. Or they've got a fucking cave troll.
Imagine it in Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, I think, is a 12 as well.
Oh no, sorry, you're a wizard. Sorry, wrong thing, Harry. Sorry.
Oh dear.
Did you watch Rings of Power?
No, I haven't watched that.
Okay. Season 1 I thought was really good, where I wanted it to go. Season 2 I turned off after about 3 episodes.
Really? Wonderful. It's on Amazon Prime, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
And are those like the prequel? Are they the prequels to the?
Yeah, Rings of Power is supposed to be the
Okay.
prequel, so it's all around Galadriel and Elrond.
What, even prequel to the Hobbit? Okay.
Yes. So it's all about the
Yeah, I
development
think
of the Rings of Power. So, who is it? Galadriel, Glorfindel, and is it Elrond who has the third Rings of Power from that one from memory? Can't remember.
I cannot remember their names because they all sound the same.
Just shows how much of a nerd I am. Should we do the second blindly rates?
Yeah.
I've gone for movies. I've got 5 movies for you.
Star Wars movies. Right?
Yes, Star Wars movies. So, episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
Haven't
5.
seen it, so 5.
There's going to be a lot that you might not have seen then, Jerry. Episode 8.
Haven't seen it,
fucking
4.
4. Yeah.
Episode 6. Return of the Jedi.
Knowing how you do these, I'm going number 1.
I don't like that. Pressure. I'm
Don't
gonna
know.
put it 3.
No, wait 1 second. Can I can't change that now. I can't.
No,
what really?
no,
I can't change it
now.
to 2.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Locked in.
Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, for sake. 4.
You can't use 4. You've had 3, 4, 5.
Oh, have I?
Yeah, you got 1 and 2 left.
I didn't go to school. There's 2 4s in my numbers. Okay, well that's got to go 2 then.
3.
Honestly.
We don't know what I've chosen
3
for
for
last.
me.
Oh,
So
no,
for
what
Jerry's
have you
number 2
chosen?
and James's number 1, I have gone for the infamous Christmas special.
Oh,
What? I didn't even know such a thing existed.
Have you not heard of the
Are you
Christmas
being
special?
serious?
It's the
Christmas
Wookiees.
holiday special from 1978.
Oh my god.
Infamous for being the worst
don't
thing
watch
that's
it,
ever
Jerry.
been released from Star Wars.
Jesus.
The special
that's
was
my
very
number
poorly received and has never been rebroadcast nor officially released on home video in any format in its entirety. It has become something of a cultural legend due to the underground quality of its existence. It has been viewed and distributed in off-air recordings of the original 1978 CBS television broadcast by fans as bootleg copies, and it's also been uploaded to content sharing websites.
Christmas special. I did. You learned something. You know, this podcast is an education. I had no idea, so I've just learned that.
I
There
would
you go.
rather watch Home Alone than watch that.
Home Alone's a great film.
Home Alone is shit. It is so overrated as a Christmas film.
Really?
Yes.
It's
Like,
just, it's
massively.
slapstick comedy. You can't go wrong with slapstick comedy.
Oh, it's boring. It's just boring.
And you're the highly educated comedic, is that what it is?
Thank you, Tom. I'm glad you finally realise where my potential is.
You with number one as number one as your Christmas special.
That's like a boiled egg
Yeah,
equivalent.
we can cut this bit out,
Yeah.
right?
That's the Star Wars equivalent of boiled egg.
That was the Star Wars
Yeah,
equivalent of the boiled eggs, and that was
absolutely.
what I was hoping to get you with.
He's done us
Oh,
there,
dear.
isn't he?
Bloody Christmas special.
Right. Oh, hello. Dodgy throat. Conspiracy theory.
Yes.
Right, you lot are going to have to explain this to me because I'm lost. I've tried to do some research and I'm completely lost.
Okay, so
I'm dying to talk about this.
I haven't actually looked at all the conspiracy theories of this, right? It's just something that's been on my TikTok feed a lot and in the news a lot. But for everybody listening, the topic is about these drones that are turning up in America, like all over America, in New York, in I think it was Boston, and all of these different places. And they are claiming that as well, that some of these drones are the size of SUVs. Like, so we're not talking about these little DJI drones that people get and fly around and whatever. We're talking about proper, like, heavy tech. And the conspiracy theory is, and I don't think I fully understand it if I'm completely honest with you, but it's something called blue light by NASA. Apparently NASA
blue
are
beam.
trying to... The blue beam, that's it. NASA are trying to contact extraterrestrial life and all of this, isn't
So
it?
Project Bluebeam is the government is faking aliens to invoke panic so they have greater control of society.
But they look like normal drones.
But also that's the
They just look like
biggest
military
load of
tech drones.
bollocks I have ever heard in my life. And the reason being is because the average human intelligence means that they're not clever enough to come up with something and fall for that, but also means they're not stupid enough to actually fall for it. So
So
Go,
for
Jerry.
me,
you're dying.
so for me, the interesting thing is, well, two aspects of this story is, well, actually, three aspects of it. One is the timing, right, with everything that's happening in the States, and also what's happening in, I think, like him or loathe him, I think there is a lot more influence that Trump has than people think, and what that's going to mean when he comes into power, and also the dynamics with Putin.
Do you think he has any power, or do you think it's all Elon Musk?
No, I don't think it's Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk has jumped on the bandwagon, and the milk's going to turn sour with the relationship between those two quite soon, I think. But the timing of it, I mean, even
You
that.
reckon?
Yeah,
That's
I think it
interesting.
will. I think it will, because they're two big
Because
egos.
so many people, like, so many things that I've been like reading at the moment, especially with, it was Elon that wanted to get the government to shut down, not Trump.
Yeah.
Elon was the one that was pushing it through, and people actually think that people are starting to go, well, actually, is Trump now the puppet for Elon?
I think the people around Trump are smart enough to know that this guy's going to have to be out of the picture. Yeah,
You
yeah,
reckon?
yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I don't know. If you see some of the people he's putting in his cabinet with him, like, they're just... I don't want to say they're just general people, but they don't seem to have the attributes that are needed. Well, I suppose it's like our government, but they don't have the attributes needed for the roles that they're taking on. So I think they're probably going to make uneducated decisions, which...
They will, without a shadow of a doubt. But Elon Musk does not have a big part to play in this. He had a big part to play in terms of the campaigning.
I think you're right. I think he's going to have a huge part.
I think he had a huge part to play to get Trump in, and then it's going to be a case of, well, thank you very much, thank you for the memories. Off you pop, do what you need to do. But
Interesting.
So two other aspects of this which I find fascinating. One is, people are saying, oh, are they UFOs? Are they not UFOs? They're unidentified flying objects, unidentified aerial phenomena. That's fine. Okay, so whether it's a drone or it's alien tech or whatever it is, right? What's interesting is the reaction of the Department of Defense and all of the government departments that are basically saying, oh,
The action.
yeah,
that
no, they're
doing.
okay. They're harmless. It's just a couple of drones, and it's just people in some aircraft, and it's fine. It's not a threat, right? If I was to go and get a drone and fly it near a nuclear facility anywhere in the UK, because it's happening in the UK.
We don't condone that.
No, definitely not. But it's also happening in the UK, by the way. So there's some US Air Force bases in the UK that are also having the same thing, that have experienced the same thing. So let's right.
Not wrong.
So if you read up about that's been happening at the same time. But let's say the three of us decided to be complete and utter idiots, and we went and bought massive
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well,
We decide
like,
to be complete and utter.
We
We
are.
are already. We are complete and utter idiots. We just are sensible
You're
enough to
right.
know where the
You're
line
right.
of the law
But
lies.
You're absolutely right. So, but let's look at there's us three, complete and utter idiots that decide to do something completely and utterly idiotic, right? So, three of us decide to go and get 3 massive drones, and we go and take it next to a U.S. Air Force base and start flying those drones around the U.S. Air Force base. I'm telling you now, they will get shot down. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
we
we'd get
would
shot
get
down.
arrested. They would get shot down. So I find it fascinating that all of a sudden, all these U.S. government departments and defense departments and military divisions are basically saying, "Nah, you're all right. They're just drones. They're harmless." What? Are you mad? This has been going on for weeks, and there's like dozens of them. And the other aspect of this as well, because I was reading up about it. So, let's say you do have a drone. You can get some pretty big drones, right? So you get some drones that are used in like professional film studios and things, they're pretty big, probably about half the size of a car. That are carrying sort of high definition cameras and what have you. You can't get a drone like that, for example, hovering for 6 hours. No drone has got the battery life to hover like that for 6 hours. And staying rooted to the spot. So the fact that it's staying rooted to the spot, it's also, by the government's admission, they're saying, they're not being picked up on the radar, but we know they're drones. So they've obviously tried to intercept them and realised they couldn't. And the rhetoric now out of the formal line is basically, well, we can't explain this, but we can tell you that they're harmless. You've got nothing to worry about. It's so ridiculous, even to the point that even Trump made a statement and said, okay, well, that's not good enough. We need a proper explanation because there's all this footage out there. It's happening on quite a large scale. You need to basically say, if it's, I don't know, a foreign power that is deploying drones, then you need to shoot them down and say, it's a foreign power. You don't have to say which foreign power, but you can say, this is what's happened and we've dealt with it. Or you can say, okay, this is happening, it's people pissing about with drones or it's aircraft flying too close or whatever, but we've dealt with it. And it's the fact that they're not dealing with it.
That is the bit that, like, regardless of what the actual answer is, because we don't know, and I've got I've got my opinions and stuff like that, but the bit that just surprises me is the lack of information coming from the people that should have the information, which suggests they're either hiding something or they don't know.
Well, it's
And
not,
it's
it's not
exactly-
even just a lack of information, Dom. It's the lack of action.
Or that
Like,
too, as well, yeah.
there's nothing that they're actually doing. And like Jerry was saying, for them just to come out and say, yeah, we're not worried about it, they know what's going on. They 100%
Well,
know. Like,
do they? Because so here's a statement. It says,
Yeah, so they either they do know and are not telling us, or they don't know and are trying not to look stupid.
here's a statement. Make of this what you will. This is a formal statement by National Security. No, National Security Agency.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
No, yeah, from me. I have a.
this is my formal statement.
Yes, I have a formal view on this. Right. It says, we assess that the sightings to date include a combination of lawful commercial drones, hobbyist drones, and law enforcement drones, as well as manned fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and stars mistakenly reported as drones. That said, we recognise the concern among many communities. We continue to support state and local authorities with advanced detection technology and support of law enforcement. Really? What are you on about? You've got drones, whatever these craft are, flying, hovering for hours over nuclear facilities. So let's say, put the whole ET theory to one side, okay? Forget that it's intelligent alien life. Let's say it is a foreign power that has decided that they're going to fly drones over nuclear facilities, and those drones have EMPs, right? That can knock out basically all of the telecommunications and all of the IT infrastructure through was it electromagnetic pulse, which because you could carry one of those on a big drone. If the drone is big as they're saying, and it's the size of a car, you could easily put an EMP device on there, and you can take out a nuclear facility in the sense that it would then become unresponsive. Do you seriously think that the authorities are going to go, yeah, it's fine, just let them hover there for like 6 hours? And... No, of course you wouldn't. You wouldn't. This whole thing is so bizarre.
So to me, that suggests then that either it's not foreign, i.e., it's something that they know about from the military, or it's something so foreign they can't do anything with it.
But then if it's something they know about, can't they just say, oh look, it's a training exercise. We can't disclose what it is, but we want to give everybody the reassurance that it is something that we are implementing, something that we are doing.
Well, yeah. I think for me, I having now worked in a corporate world for a while, I know that sometimes some of the utter bull that comes out of some of that, you just for no apparent reason, you think, just tell the truth. It would be so much easier just to tell the truth, but we decided not to, just to make lives more complicated. And I'm pretty sure that sometimes that governments are pretty much exactly the same, are fallible to this as well.
But then you've had situations, for example, where you've had drones, multiple drones over the past 2-3 years have been shot down immediately that have gone anywhere near US vessels, Navy vessels, British Navy vessels, US, UK military sites. They've been shot down straight away.
Does the US just not care?
And by the way, and reported so that basically it sends a signal to say to anybody else that wants to try that sort of shit, yeah, fine, go ahead, fly your drone. You know, if that's the technology that you're using and that you think that's going to be a viable threat, we know how to counter that, and it sends the message. That the whole thing for me doesn't make sense. I think it's silly.
No,
I think it's silly for people to go, well, it's definitely extraterrestrial. No, it isn't necessarily that at all. But that's not, for me, that's not even... I say it's not the interesting bit. It would be the interesting bit if it actually was. But I don't know for a fact if it is or not. It's just the response to it that fascinates me.
Yeah, this is so weird.
It's
odd.
I've just been Googling.
Oh, dangerous.
What drones can
I went on the internet and I found this.
I was just looking to see what drones can actually fly for a long period of time, and pretty much the only ones that can fly... One can fly for 25 hours, but that's a recon drone.
Oh,
that's like a UAV kind of style one. So that's fixed wing. The next one down is something called a Juav. Something. That's like, again, another fixed wing. And it's not until you get to like DJI Fly Kart where it has like 4 hours fly time. The rest of them don't go anywhere near 6. Not the drones that are being captured
Hovering
on the videos.
ones.
Yeah, because I don't think I've seen a video yet, and there might be, it might just not come across like my feeds and stuff. But I haven't seen a video yet where they're fixed wing. They've all been propeller drones.
Helicopters.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, the lack of information and the gaps in knowledge of the story is what's
and
me.
Again, it's that statement that gets me. We assess that the sightings, this is the formal statement, we assess that the sightings to date include a combination of lawful commercial drones, lawful commercial, which are just flying over and above nuclear facilities and places which store nuclear material, hobbyist drones, Law enforcement drones. So what? You've got law enforcement drones chasing the hobbyist drones in the sky, as well as manned fixed-wing aircraft over a nuclear facility. Helicopters. Yeah, I'll just go and fly there. There are no restrictions there to that airspace. And stars mistakenly reported as drones because nobody knows what a star looks like. So how many times you've ever looked?
There are probably some people in America that don't know what a star looks like, to be fair to them.
I mean, probably.
Because because for anybody who doesn't know, near us we've got quite a few military bases. To be fair, the nearest one I think would be 4-5 Commando, the Royal Marines, which is in Taunton. If we took a drone and went over to there and flew it over, I think the response would be fucking rapid to take that down.
Would be.
We can't. It's a complete no. It's a complete blank airspace around where we are, because we've got the helicopter factory where I live, and then you've got the military base that's a few miles down the road, and then yes, you're right. Then you got Taunton.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. I'll probably say, so I've got Yeovilton near me, and I've got Leonardo, and Leonardo's the helicopter factory literally less than a mile from me.
And then we got Hinkley,
right?
The nuclear power station down the road.
I think it's a bit closer to you than you than me, but yeah.
Flew something over there, then I'm sure that'll get shot down in a second.
I'm not going to go try this.
No. That's what I'm saying. But
no distinct and jovial experiments here.
But that's the point, isn't it? That we wouldn't even bother doing it. Why would you? Because you risk. Because you know what the outcome's going to be. You're going to lose your drone, and you're going to get arrested and probably thrown in jail. And for yeet.
And I think something else that you said earlier, Jerry, as well, around like other things have been shot down in the past. Like the general public know that there's a process that is followed to obviously not engage, try and talk to them. If they don't, then take action. But for this specific time, which is probably like a very exaggerated experience compared to like a single operative maybe that they're having to shoot down, they're not doing anything about it. And it's like, why are you not following that process that you normally follow?
It literally makes no sense. And that, for me, was when I was reading up about this prior to this podcast, I thought, right, let's get some background on this. And actually, what I'll say this, fair play to a lot of people who are very sort of pro the whole UFO topic, and so even they're saying, look, like you need to put all of that to one side. This is weird.
It got to the point that was the biggest bit, was when the moderator for r/drones, so the Reddit being an r/, left the post going, this is all bullshit, like what is going on? Because he was fed up of like moderating them out, because that's what he was being asked to do, and he's like, no, just like somebody give us some explanation, please. So yeah. Right, shall we move on to... Do you want more conspiracy theories, or shall we move on to a bit more about you, Hoop? I'm going to move on to a bit more about you. We'll leave the random conspiracy theories for another time.
I love how you asked me the question, what my choice was, and then gave me my choice.
Yeah. Well, what would your choice be?
I'm happy either way, but yeah, we can do more conspiracy at the end if we've got time.
If we've got time, cool.
Because there's only an hour left.
Well, it's not that there's only an hour left. It's more that the podcast will be there. I've got nothing after when I put it in. I always block out just 3 hours, because that's normally how long it takes.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about yourself and the 92 Plates rebranding that you had. About when were we supposed to be talking? And your photography account.
Yeah, so a lot's changed, I think.
I mean, you've got one of your prints behind you, I believe.
This one?
Yeah.
So this is a Campbell soup tin. We all know who Andy Warhol is, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah. So we all know Andy Warhol's famous soup can when he used to work for or did freelance work for Campbell's, and they asked him to create that. So I was inspired by that, and there's an artist in America called Mr. Brainwash. So for anybody that doesn't know, so here we go. Here's an art lesson. Mr. Brainwash, he's a French guy who was living in America, and pretty much he wanted to get into the art scene, so he decided to start recording different artists, and mainly street artists and people who probably shouldn't be putting their art up in certain places. So he was recording them whilst they were doing like the art on like huge billboards and all of this kind of stuff. And he just did that. And what he did was and this was in the days, people, where it wasn't digital. This was all on tapes. So he then started putting these tapes into boxes. He never wrote on the tape who he recorded or the date or anything. He just took it, recorded it, put it in a box, and then left it. And then this one time, Banksy was trying to get into America, and they were going to be recording Exit Through the Gift Shop. So if anybody's seen that film, it's meant to be about Banksy and how he creates art and how Banksy became Banksy, pretty much. And his videographer got turned away at the border, so America said, you're not allowed to come in. So then they were like, oh well, we know this videographer called his name's Thierry, we'll phone him and get him to do it. And so obviously anybody who gets a phone call from Banksy, you're gonna say yes, I will do this work for you, of course I fucking will, bend over, spank my ass, let's go. So he went and he recorded Banksy through this his whole time in America, pretty much, and they wanted to create this film about street art and all of this. So when he created the film, it was shit. And if you watch Exit Through the Gift Shop, you will actually see a snippet of the original film that Thierry created, and it is how I would describe an ADH brain to look. Nice. It is just constant and just going and going and going, and a lot going on and chaotic, and it is just like a mess, a cluster of stuff in there. So what Banksy said was, go play with my studio, I'm going to redo this film and all of this. And then obviously it went on to win a lot of awards. And then Mr. Brainwash became an artist, and he's a very good artist in his own right. We had the chance to go meet him in March this year. And bearing in mind, this guy, he's got about 10 million followers. He's done work for Stanley. He's done work for Campbell's, Battersea Power Station. He's just recently done work for Rubik's Cube for their 25th anniversary. We've just bought these little Rubik's Cubes with his art on and stuff. So we got the chance to meet him. So I took these prints with me, and I said to him, like, you inspire me to create. I want to kind of create pop photography in a way. And so I gave him this set of prints, and he said, I can't take all of these. So he signed one and he gave it back. So there is a signed version of Mr. Brainwash. Yeah, so that's my photo with his signature with 2024 on it. And I'll be honest, people, I actually cried when I got back to the car. I was very overwhelmed with emotion, because this guy I've admired for quite a long time, and finally got to meet him face to face. We've got a load of pictures with him. Bear in mind, like, this art gallery had a shit ton of other people in there. It was packed, like utterly packed. And yeah, to get that, and when I got back to the car, I cried, because I was like, this is incredible experience. So that's kind of where I wanted my photography to go, was this pop photography site. So for anybody that don't know, I was a food photographer, or still am a food photographer. But, oh God, this is going to get really bleak and really serious now. I feel like I failed at doing so, pretty much, because I try to make it into a business, and I try to get clients, and what I was finding was the more kind of emails that I was sending out to get clients, the more time that I was getting rejected. It was really demoralizing me, and I was like why can't I value sell photos to them? Why can't I say, hey, this is what it's going to do for your business? And I had a couple of clients, and I still do. I've got a load of, you won't be able to see them in the corner, I've got a load of coffee bags for a local Welsh company who do coffee, and I still do photography for them and always will. But yeah, I couldn't get the clientele, and it was overtime, and I was like, this is getting on a bit. And for those that don't know, I had a time period to do this because we are expecting our first child in January, so I wanted to try and get a good business coming up ready for when the baby's here, so I've got something that's sustainable and substantial, but I couldn't get there in time, so I've kind of like put it on the back burner. I wouldn't say 92 Plates is dead. I'd say it's probably on the back burner a little bit, until we've found our feet when baby's here and stuff. So,
but you're still posting on there because you're doing other
Yeah.
things.
I am doing other things. So I'm doing a lot of art at the moment, which is kind of, I've sold a fair few pieces. I'm going to be honest, I have sold a fair few pieces. I've sold a couple of pieces that have gone to Germany. I've sold one that's gone to Poland. Apart from all of that now, because of the new general product safety regulation that's come in.
Yay, Brexit.
So anybody that doesn't know, it's not even Brexit.
No, it's not. It's actually
So if you want to sell in the EU market, whether you're in the EU or you're outside of the EU, you have to have a representative within that country, or not with the country, but within the EU, who will say your product is safe, regardless of what that product is. I think there's only a very few exemptions, like antiques is one of them, and there's something else that doesn't have to apply to this. And that can cost between about 200 to thousands and thousands of pounds a year to get this representative. And obviously that's not something I can consume yet because I don't sell enough. But so yeah, I can't sell to the EU anymore until I've figured a way out of that. And the reason that this was brought in is because of companies like Temu and Shein, to make sure that the quality of their products that they're selling within the markets is of good standard and is not going to harm people, which I am all for, because I don't know if anybody's seen the documentary with, I think it was Shein, the documentary was about on Channel 4. They found things like there was a high content of lead in the jewellery, which is obviously harming to health and all of this. So this is why this regulation's kind of come in.
The big one that's come up recently is Christmas lights. There aren't any fuses.
Oh. What the hell?
Jesus.
Or what they were taking the fuses out and the lights were still on. So the fuses are there, but they're just not using them.
What the hell?
That's so bad. So this is a good thing to bring this regulation.
It's a good thing. The problem is
However,
it
for small
greatly impacts
businesses-
us because we're out. Because we are. This is not quite true. So there's a little bit. The reason why I said yay Brexit. If we were inside the European Union, we wouldn't have to. There are less stringent checks than there is. It's more if you want to sell inside the European Union from outside the European Union, because if you're inside the European Union, you are a representative of the European Union, so you don't need to spend that money. That's the reason why I said yay Brexit.
Yeah. I would agree with that, to be fair. So yeah, it's got a lot more difficult for small businesses to sell, but yeah, I'm enjoying painting. It's just very therapeutic. It's just nice just to sit down. I just completed a piece. I don't know if I can.
What are you painting? Acrylic or oil?
Acrylic. So yeah, this is my latest piece called Dead Ghost Society. So if anybody loves Pac-Man, this piece might be for you. And I could create prints if anybody wants them.
Oh, brilliant.
Nice.
But yeah, that's Dead Ghost Society. But the main aim for the art is I want to blend art and photography together. That's my main aim. And I've created a couple of pieces. If you go onto my Instagram, you'll see. It's the Heinz tin of soup. So I've made this, I'm going to say UK version, even though Heinz is technically American, but we'll just pass that. And then I've kind of like painted a load of Shaun the Sheep characters all over it. So it's a nice, fun kind of piece to do, and I'm trying to get Aardman to see it. I'm trying to be like, hey Aardman, look at me, I'm creating all this art for you, but they haven't taken the bite yet. But yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this was my first ever commission that I created. This was for my friend in Poland.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, that was good fun to draw. Oh, so there's a story behind this. I don't know if everybody's seen, but anybody who can't visually see on this, if you're listening on Spotify or somewhere, so it is a painting I've done of a banana duct tape to a wall, pretty much. So recently, a real banana, duct tape to a real wall, sold for nearly £6 million. And this is not even the original banana. The banana had been replaced twice already, but this person had bought it for $6 million. So I was like, yeah, yes, Jerry, exactly. It's either ludicrous or fucking genius, and I don't know which one it is yet. So I decided to paint it. It's a lot of money, but it's the connection that you have with the piece of art that really makes the value, I think. But I was like, I can't sit back and just not do anything. So I painted this and I called it Hostage, because I made the banana into a character, making it look like they've been taken hostage against their own will and stuff.
Ah, brilliant!
Feathers McGraw.
Feathers McGraw.
Yeah.
And then this is what you print them and send them out.
So these are all originals, so I don't print them.
Okay.
They're all originals. Yeah, I don't make any prints of these, so they're what I call pocket art.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got 3.5 inch by 2.5 inch canvases or cards, and I'll just paint on them, and then I encase them into these vaults, which are kind of like just like trading card.
It's similar to what you put like Pokemon trading cards and stuff in.
That's so cool.
Yeah, good old Shaun the Sheep. So this is a Toy Story one. So I call this Andy's story. So obviously we all know the background of Toy Story is the clouds and stuff, and it was just this was like the concept art that I created to see if pocket art could work as a thing. We'll skip past this one. This is just a random one. Shaun the Sheep as an emoji.
Brilliant.
Aardman, see? Oh, there you go. There it is. So this is the Heinz can with Shaun the Sheep characters printed on it. Painted on, not printed.
I think that's all of
So
them.
yeah, if anybody is listening on Spotify, if you take a look on my Instagram, you'll be able to have a look on there. But yeah, I'm just enjoying it. Like, and I know that like obviously the baby's going to take a lot of time when they're here, especially obviously during the first like 6 months and stuff. But I know that I might have some 18 years.
Only Jerry
And
can
the
attest to that one.
Yeah.
And the rest. But I know that like so my wife Kirsty and I have pretty much talked about allowing ourselves to have those times away, to just like kind of have our own time and be able to decompress. And I know that painting will be one of those things, because I can just set up and go, whilst with photography I have to get all the lights out, I have to like have like the concept in my head and be able to know what I'm photographing and what I want to create, and it's just a lot more time to consume, whilst painting I can just literally pick it up and go. But yeah, so in short of all of that, 92 Plates isn't dead. It's just on pause at the moment until I'm ready to restart the food photography side again, I would say.
And you still also have your other Instagram, which is your photography one, for when you're out and about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to be one of those people that post their kids 24/7 on Facebook and Instagram. Like they just, oh look, my kid just like winced at me. Well, great, thank you. Like great. How did I ever sleep at night without knowing that they did that? Like, I'm not going to be one of those, but I am gonna. We do plan to go away a lot and to get out and make sure that we have that fresh air and stuff. So I will take my cameras with me and still do that side of life for sure.
Well, you've alluded to it twice, so we can talk about the final topic.
Well,
Baby!
wait a second. So before we move on to
Baby.
baby, so is that
Yeah, but yes,
is
Jerry.
that
Yeah.
Feathers McGraw artwork available then?
No, that got sold straight away before I even finished it.
Really?
And before I even I just posted it as a story of, hey, look what I'm creating, and somebody said I want to buy this
Brilliant.
one, and that got sent to Germany. But I do have this new idea as well of taking these kind of characters, and like when you go into like a fancy kind of manor house, and then you got the huge portraits of them like with their arms crossed, like all this. I plan to kind of make that version, but with these Wallace and Gromit
Fantastic.
characters as well. So there might be a new Feathers McGraw one coming, Jerry. So
Because have you had? There's also that thing. Have you seen Jim will paint it? Have you ever never seen that?
no,
So if you look up Jim will paint it, what he does is
Yes.
So people write in and they'll say, "Oh, can you show? Can you do a painting of like, I don't know, Donald Trump and Chewbacca, at a party, getting drunk together, that sort of thing." And then he'll do it. And he's done some of the weirdest
yeah.
commissions.
Mad Max Jim versus AI. Mad Max protecting the Coca-Cola truck from an assault by competing soft drink providers. He has escorted to Chesterfield for some reason.
I love
that's
Jim will
pretty
paint
funny.
it.
I like that.
So that's what he painted, and that's
I like that he does the AI
that's
version.
that's
as
the
well.
AI. What other ones are there?
The pigeon's wearing a hat.
Why are they all wearing paper hats?
Does it not say? Because usually the caption is, it'll be somebody that's written in.
I was on a packed train on the way home from a gig, and I found someone's newspaper they'd left on the table. So I made newspaper hats for everyone in my carriage, and every single person wore theirs. I left the train smiling and laughing as a carriage full of random strangers made their way up to Scotland wearing my paper hats.
Well done, Jane, for doing that.
Robs Halfords. It's a Judas Priest lead singer?
I think.
Who's a guitarist?
I thought he was a guitarist. Rob's Albert.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Art
Oh,
Attack.
he's a
with-
Is
singer.
that
He's a
Neil
singer.
from Art Attack?
Yeah, yeah. Art Attack with the talking bust in that head scene from Reanimator.
Oh yeah, the talking bust.
This is
These are good.
the night Mike Myers came home.
Oh, Wayne's World.
Brilliant.
I like that.
Oh, jeez. So that's Jim will paint it. And James will paint
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I'm brave enough to go anywhere near that connotation, to be honest.
Yeah. But as I said, so last one, baby.
Baby, yes. So we are having a baby, which is due end of January.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was.
So very soon.
Yeah, a month and a half if that. Month.
Well, by the time this comes out, it'll be under the month.
Yeah.
The days then. Yeah.
Well, first of all,
Yeah,
congratulations.
absolutely, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You've done. I'm sure
Thank
you've
you.
done all the heavy lifting.
Oh, mate, it's been a breeze for me. I've enjoyed it.
You're not within earshot, are you? No,
Oh,
right.
I've said this before. Like health visitors will be like, "Oh, so how has pregnancy been and stuff?" And I don't know why, but sometimes they look at me, and I'm like, "Oh, been fine. I've loved it." Like, but I'm not the one where my body's changing constantly. I'm not the one where I have to look at the foods that I'm eating. Like, yeah. But yeah, less than a month when this podcast comes out.
And how are you feeling?
Yeah.
How are you both feeling?
We're both very excited. Like, excitement is probably the biggest emotion that we've got. We're also very nervous. We've been to like antenatal classes and stuff like that to try and learn as much as we can. And but I don't think, from what I've talked to people, you're ever prepared fully.
Sherry still isn't.
To look after a newborn. It's just scary, isn't it? Because like all of a sudden you are then responsible for this little person who wants you for every need in the world. But yes, it's gonna be, it's what we've wanted for a while. So we've kind of mentally prepared for it for a while. But it's coming around fast.
All right.
Too fast.
As you said, you were sorting out some of the nursery bits, so you weren't physically prepared for it.
Well, no, we only just started doing it because we've started to get stuff in now and like the curtains and all of that kind of stuff. But funny enough, like last weekend, so we had a Saturday free, and then it was we went to the last antenatal class on the Sunday, and we don't know why we decided this, but we decided that Saturday was the day we had to do the nursery. We had to paint it. Like, there's no other day in the world. That was the day that we had to do it, and there's no rationale behind it because I'm now off for Christmas. So I've got like loads of days that I could do it, but we decided no, we have to do it. And obviously Kirsty can't paint because the fumes and stuff could be toxic towards baby and stuff. So obviously I'm the one doing the paint, and she doesn't have that fucking energy anyway. So I don't mind doing all the painting. So I started doing it, and I was in there from like 10 a.m. to about 5 p.m. like just constantly just painting, and I was like, fuck, like I was knackered by the end of the day, and I didn't even finish it. That was only the first coat. And so I had to like, and there was just shit everywhere. So like when I was gaming that evening, I had like a single bed next to me that I have to like kind of like shimmy round to get in and out. So if there's a fire, I'm like I wouldn't have been able to get out. Like the other office was just full of crap. The whole hallway was just full of crap, and it's like, fuck. Like how much stuff does a little baby need before they're even like? We've got a 4-bed house, so I feel quite lucky, quite privileged. We're in a really nice house. It feels small now. Like there is so much stuff around like that a baby needs. It's just ridiculous.
Can I just say that I love the
mad.
fact you clarified that, which is the only reason why my missus isn't painting is because of the fumes. If it was safe, then I would expect her to roll.
I'll be feet up. No, she doesn't have much energy as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've started to, I've repainted it yesterday. Like did all the it was just literally cutting in and touch ups and stuff. Built the wardrobe. We've got all like the curtain and stuff that I need to put up. Put the blind up.
Have you got pushchair? You got pushchair, change bag, all of that.
Yep.
Have you packed
Yeah,
the
got all of
hospital
that.
bag? Because you need to be doing that around now.
We do need to be doing that. We
do that around
haven't
a
done
month
that yet. Yeah. We still need to.
I would do that before even finishing the painting. I would pack a hospital
As
bag.
somebody that came
Yeah.
2 months
There
early,
you go.
Yeah. Are you a preemie?
I was born 10 weeks early.
Wow. I did
So
not
my
know that you were
birthday is
premature.
in 8 days' time. I was born on the 30th of December. I was supposed to be born on the 29th of February, 1992. I was born on the 30th of December, 1991. I was supposed to be a leap year
There you
baby.
go. Huh.
So, yeah. My parents had a fun Boxing Day to...
Yeah, I bet they did. Bet they bloody did. Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
get that sorted.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'm having this.
Yeah.
I'm having this argument with a few people, or different types of similar arguments with different people, right? Because like I'm feeling like I'm failing at the moment as an adult. Long story. I'm not going to go into it, but like as I'm trying to buy a house and stuff like that. But then I'm speaking to like other friends. So like certain people. So I've got some friends. It's like, so you own a house and you're married. Do you have a will? No. why do you not have a will? And then it's like, and then I was like, I got, so obviously with the passport palaver, I was like, right, it's good. I've now got 2 forms of identification at home, and one of them's in a fireproof place. And like, why do you need to be in a fireproof place? It's like, because if the house burns down, then at least I've still got my passport and all the important. Please tell me you stole your documents. Oh no, they're just shoved in the drawer. Okay, right, okie dokie. So it's like, it's interesting to hear, like different like adulting bits, and it's like, please make sure that you just have something prepared.
I thought you had to have a will before you got your mortgage and stuff.
I don't think so. No, I don't think you need a will to have for that.
Oh, maybe we just got our will anyway. I know you have to have life insurance.
Yes, life insurance.
To get your mortgage.
Yep.
I can't remember what else we had to get.
No, you don't even need that, by the way.
I think it was just mainly life insurance.
You don't even need that.
No, you do.
What, now?
The mortgage companies require it now.
Yeah, mortgage companies
yeah.
require it now.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we had
Yeah,
to
but Jerry, you
supply
bought your house
our
in
life insurance
1847, so
No, I just,
when it was
it
£2.50.
was 1837.
Jerry's one of these people who's like, if the young people just stop buying Starbucks, they'll be able to
Listen,
afford a house.
If I was in a position to buy anything in 1837, I'd be buying shit tons of land in London.
Yes, absolutely.
Buy half of West London for 3 shillings.
Yes, I had.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it's about just being a little bit. It's that preparedness, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we've kind of come to, like, we got a birth plan. I'm not going to talk about the birth plan on here, but we got a birth plan of what we prefer and what we want and how we want things to go. And I think one of the things that scares the shit out of me, and that's why Kirsty and I have talked a lot around our preferences and stuff, is that if it gets to a point of a C-section and Kirsty's in a place where she's just completely fatigued from the whole birth, is like, and it'll be me that has to call it and say, now's the time. And that's me making a decision on her body. And that scares the shit out of me.
There is a term for that, is in a financial sense, which I had to research earlier on. Carry on, sorry.
Not power.
In a financial sense?
Well, you've got things like a power of attorney.
Power of attorney, that's it.
Oh,
so
okay,
there is both a medical and a financial power thing to do with lasting power of attorney, which you can have set up. So generally, your parents will set up lasting power of attorney to their children should their faculties deplete to the point that you need to take over their finances and medical things. But you can also have that kind of on a smaller scale for this exact scenario between couples.
Yeah, so there isn't obviously anything in a legal format kind of thing around it. It'll just literally be on the day making that decision. But we've had a very in-depth discussion around, like, what kind of not like markers, but kind of like what do you call it when, like,
milestones?
You spot them. Not milestones.
I know.
Like,
we know what you mean. I think we know what you mean.
What's the word?
You're talking about during the whole process, if it's
like it's not symptom. There's a fucking word for this. Not like when you spot the symptoms, but you spot like the.
I don't know the word, but we know what you mean, I think.
But what the fuck is the word? That's going to bug me.
You'll remember
what to look out for. Let's just say what to look out for.
Yeah.
To know that I'm making the right decision if we get to that point and stuff. But yeah, it's going to be.
You'll remember
this
at 2 a.m. You'll remember it at 2 a.m. in the morning this morning. You'll be messaging us.
I'll message on WhatsApp.
It's fucking this, bastards.
But yeah, she smashed it. She's done absolutely incredible. Like, first trimester wasn't great. Like, she was just fatigued and all of that, obviously, with all hormones changing and what have you. Second trimester was a breeze.
So no sickness or anything like that?
This she's had this is the thing, no sickness, no cravings. The only thing that she's really struggling with, and that's only started in this trimester, in the third trimester, is sleep. she wakes up at 4 a.m. most mornings, or she'll wake up at like every hour to go pee and all of this kind of stuff. And by the way, I did discuss with her what I was allowed to say and not say before I came on here, so just to make sure that she's not going to listen to the podcast and go, why the fuck did you tell them about that?
We can take anything out in post-production, that's the beauty.
Yeah. But the thing she's looking forward to, obviously, is the baby coming, obviously. But we do joke because you're not allowed to eat brie when you're pregnant,
blue cheese,
or anything like that.
Blue cheese either, or shellfish.
Yeah. Pate. You're not allowed to eat pate. And obviously, it's Christmas. The two things that she loves at Christmas is brie and pate.
Oh, yeah.
So I said I'll have a hunk of brie, so when she's given birth, she can just like eat that while doing skin to skin. But yeah, we've got names. So we don't know what the gender is. We didn't want to know, and the good thing is we didn't want to know because when we actually had the scan, the baby had their legs crossed the whole time. So even if we did want to know, we wouldn't ever have found out. But yeah, so we got names for either side, either gender, and we just find out on the day and be like, surprise. We'll either get piss in the face from a winkle or a very, very timid little girl. Who knows?
Relate to you, Hoops. Not going to be timid.
Yes. They are going to be, whoever they are, they're going to be loud-mouthed, sarky.
Oh dear.
But I can't wait. I can't wait to show them Star Wars and to like make pizza with them and all of this kind of stuff and have movie nights. And anybody who knows me knows I love Christmas. Like, Christmas is like my favorite time of year, and I'm already like seeing all like the little Christmas outfits in like the supermarkets and stuff when doing the shopping. And I'm like, oh my god, I want matching outfits and all of this. And Kirsty's just like, we're not having a Christmas baby yet. I'm like, but what if we buy this now for next year? We don't know what size they'll be.
It's very true.
You know the fun that you're going to have with trying to show that Father Christmas has been and delivered the presents. So you'll have like the mince pie, you bite into the carrot, say, oh, the reindeer had the carrot, Father Christmas had the brandy and the mince pie, and then, and I used to I used to write like a little note, but I used to cover it. So I used to burn a match, and then just like rub all of the burnt bit of the match over the paper, to sort of like as if he's come. Yeah,
like
so it
soot
looks like
kind
soot.
of thing. Yeah.
With a little note.
I love that. Yeah, I still don't know who thought it's a good idea to let us be parents though. Like,
no, it'd be great.
It's
bad decisions.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? I think the way, and this is my observation. I can't believe I'm saying something positive about you.
It's arrived, people. It's arrived. The time has come.
But the fact that the excitement that you've shown, and the fact that I know that you're also very, very nervous, is probably what will make you the best type of parents. If you know what I mean? Because you're not like someone's like, it's just a child. I'm not really that excited. You know, they're not going to be neglected and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think you'll probably make great parents and
you'll
things
smash
like
it.
that.
I appreciate that. It's going to be a big learning curve, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think we're just ready for the challenge as well of just nurturing this human and watching them grow and have that. And the thing is, I can't wait to see their personality, to see like who do they become, because I think with parents like us.
Please be like Kirsty. Please be like Kirsty.
Kirsty, you've met Kirsty's as sarcastic as me.
She's not. She's probably more sarcastic than you at times.
Yeah, she takes
a lot
the
drier
piss a
sense
lot.
of humour.
Yes, yeah. So this kid's got no hope of being serious.
In fact,
any
she's
shape or
also
form.
the emotionally sound one, I think, as well.
I would agree with that too.
Having seen you at your wedding.
Yeah.
Not a tear was shed from that side.
Yeah.
Hooper was a mess.
Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be good, and the nursery's safari themed as well. So we went on a safari for our first proper holiday, our first big holiday. So it kind of all links back into like where it all started and coming back to bring new life in. But And that's also because if we didn't choose Safari, it would either be fully Dumbo, which was Kirsty's choice, or Star Wars, Disney. Which was my choice.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a strong Disney connotation, you both, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, we've got like Mickey and Minnie in there, a couple of Dumbo plushies, and all of this, but not the whole room isn't Disney.
No Salacious Crumb.
It's good.
That's actually one of the names we have written down if it's a boy.
I like it.
Weird, that isn't it?
Brilliant. Well, exciting times. Well, it just means that when we come over, we get to visit. Well, we do it in person.
And then
we need to plan.
Oh, let's bring them on the podcast.
And then I'll get to do what always happens.
That'll be up to you and Kirsty.
What always happens these days. So with babies tend not to like me. So as soon as they see me, I think it's because of the beard, so they immediately start crying. But then as soon as they're a bit older, then I'm just like a big kid anyway, so they gravitate towards me, and that's how that's going to go down.
Well, they might be used to beard.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll be seeing my face every day, so
they'll have the
they'll be shocked that they don't cry.
Yeah.
Why aren't you crying?
I don't understand.
James, your baby's broken.
I don't know how to be going nowhere near them.
I mean, I get that, to be honest, because our next door neighbour, when she had her kid about a couple of years ago, we went round to go see them and stuff, and Kirsty held him, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to hold him?" I was like, no, thank you.
No.
These are fragile little things.
No. I can't do it. I can't hold babies. Yeah, physically can't. My mind won't let me.
Because you're scared, or what?
No, because because of OCD, I can't.
Okay.
Because it's like, yeet the baby, yeet the baby, and I'm like, no, I can't. It's a compulsion that you can't. That is very, very powerful in the mind. It's like, can't do it, so I don't. It's one of the compulsions that I can't, like, or the negative connotations in my head, and it's just like, yeet the baby, and I'm like, I could joke about it because I suffer from it, but I will never hold a child. Well, I would, as well as, I mean, I also have the germophobia side of OCD as well, and children are snotty and gross, so at most ages up till about 18, they start becoming a little bit less snotty and gross. Teenagers are gross, 12-year-olds are gross, etc. It's one of the compulsions in my mind that I really struggle to fight with, and so I've made it point blank to all of my friends and everybody in analysis. So I will not hold a baby, and then I'm not great with kids, to be totally honest. But that's just me. So, which surprises most people because I'm a quite childish, but I'm not very good. I'm very self-conscious. So.
Do you reckon that could change, that if in the future you have children yourself?
Very unlikely that
your mindset might change. Okay.
In fact, it's probably borderline impossible that I'm likely to have children.
Okay.
So, because you've got to go through partner, and I'm 33 in 8 days, so I haven't had like those 3 to 5 years or whatever it is. I'm not looking, so that's not that's gonna.
Do it Yeovil style. You only need 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Please cut that out.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I am so sorry, people. Please cut that out. That's such a horrible thing for me to say.
Stay in. What I love about that is. On a slightly more serious side of that, with people that I've been talking to about that, you know, people our age who are generally sort of starting to have kids or have had kids. It's the conversation a bit before you've had kids in terms of trying to have, because everyone just thinks, oh yeah, it's just and done. It doesn't work like that. I have had friends who reckon it was literally the first night that they tried, and it was like bang, oh okay, baby. And then I've had stories of like 4 years plus sort of thing. I've spoken to, but I can speak about me. I know that took several years to have me, and then I arrived 10 weeks early, so I was freaking lovely as a child, wasn't I? So it's just interesting, those different bits, and again, it's the reason why I sort of say, I would have to have a lot. Oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this on the podcast, but I'm very happy to say this on the podcast. I would have to have a lot of therapy to cope with being able to have a child. Yeah. But each to our own. Everybody's different, and I'm content with where I am at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the moment, I mean, I didn't mention this in the Maldives bit. I said the Maldives was almost perfect, and one of the big philosophical things, I think I said this to you, Jerry, before, that I took away from it is it was almost perfect because it would have been nice to share with somebody. I did, don't get me wrong, it did loads for my confidence in terms of I had to go to dinner on my own, even though I was the only, and I'm on my own, breakfast, lunch and dinner, into a restaurant on my own, which is great. I read a great book, by the way, absolutely amazing book. It's called How to Build a Car by Adrian
I saw
Newey.
that in Waterstones, by the way, because you mentioned it and I saw it. It looks really good.
Such a good book. Really, and it's my type of thing, right? Big F1 fan. But I took away the biggest thing. It would have been lovely to have shared the experience that I had with somebody, and I say that in a kind of a bit of a philosophical thing, which is why again I don't think I want to do that again, or at the moment I don't want to do that again. I might do that again, if I'm going to use the word if, not when, but if I ever have a partner and that's something that they want to do, I would absolutely be like, yeah, we can do it. I'd happily do it again. But if it's just going to be me, it's a tick.
I think going back to a previous point you made as well around it doesn't just sometimes happen. It's I think this is part of the education system and the whole social system is that, and this is what Kirsty and I talked about right at the beginning, is that as a guy you're kind of taught that if you have sex with somebody, you are going to get them pregnant.
Yeah, I was going to say that. You have sex, you get pregnant. That is the only equation that you're told as a guy.
But nobody tells you that actually it's only during 3 days in an actual cycle that you can get a woman pregnant. There are likelihoods outside of that.
I think everybody is different. That's the thing that I learned. Right, some people it is some women it is exactly like that. But also, one of the things I've learned recently, and I think my camera is slowly failing. One of the things I've learned recently is
no, you look that ugly every day.
No, mine's it's flicking between it's desaturating me and that's resaturating me.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I could see your.
Yeah, I can see it in the background.
Weird. Anyway, and also it's both ways. Both people could not work. Yeah. Air quotes.
Yeah, but what I mean by mine is the ovulation cycle. So when a woman ovulates, that's the peak period that you can get them pregnant, and that's only 3 days in a cycle. It's not long at all to be able to achieve that. I mean, luckily we conceived within the first 2 ovulations, I think. Is what happened. So we were privileged and quite lucky that it fell quite quickly. But we also know people who did take a fair few years to be able to conceive and all of that kind of stuff.
And that's stressful. I know because I've been
it's just different.
It's stressful.
Yeah, you've mentioned it before, Jerry. I think, haven't you? So.
And I think more men should talk about this.
Yeah,
we should open up more about
and
this.
And also, I'm hoping that I don't know when we're going to come over to do the in-person podcast, but the pizza one. But I can't wait. So I love holding. So I've got loads of experience because of my cousins and their kids. So holding babies,
you're a dad as well.
I'm a dad as always.
Forgot that bit.
Just pointing that out. Yeah, right. Jerry has a daughter.
But it's interesting because of my.
She's not small anymore.
No. But actually, funnily enough, because of my cousin's children, I was really comfortable by the time I became a dad. I was like, yeah, so I hold a baby, no problem. And in fact, I'll never forget the story of a friend of mine. We went to a wedding, so this is before having children. Went to a wedding and
My parents call that BC.
BC exactly. And she said, her friend said, "Oh, do you mind holding the baby?" Who was only, I think she was only 3 months old, I think at the time, 4 months old. And I was at this wedding, and I held it, and then she disappeared. So I was left with this 3-month-old baby for literally like
Full John Travolta.
hours. Yeah, I was like, what? But I will say this from a single guy's perspective, yeah, that works. You literally have everyone flocking around you, going, "God, so cute. Is it your child?" Like, no. They're like, "Oh," and then there's
Which is kind of ironic, isn't it?
yeah,
Where did you steal it from?
It's like, this belongs to my friend. But
I bet you got the same as well with Taco Bell.
oh, I get mobbed. I can't. So Taco Bell is my
Taco Bell is a
daughter's-
Chihuahua.
my daughter's Chihuahua, and literally, I can't take her anywhere. She's tiny, and yeah, everybody just goes mad when
The turd sandwich.
everyone gets mad when they see her.
Did your daughter choose the name Taco Bell?
Yes.
Or Bell for
Fucking
sure.
brilliant.
But she had it all planned
Bell.
out. Yeah,
Right.
we call it Bell, but the full name is Taco Bell. But Belle.
Love that.
So yeah.
Right, okay.
So yes,
And then Jerry refers to her as a
the-
turd
yeah,
sandwich, along with
the giant douche.
the giant douche. And what is the name of the golden retriever,
Larry.
Jerry?
Larry.
But yeah, no, I get very broody when I see kids. So yeah, I'll be having a cuddle definitely if you allow it.
Yeah, we're going to definitely we're going to allow. I think like I don't know if many people know this, but RSV, which is a respiratory condition, is pretty rife at the moment. So
No kisses.
they're advising people no kisses if they're ill, don't hold baby and all of that. So we're going to do that at the beginning. But I think once they get past 3 months or something, their immune system is fully developed or partly developed, that they'll be able to
All the
tackle that. So
vaccines.
yeah, when you come round, you'll definitely be able to
Awesome.
have a cuddle, and you can cuddle the baby.
I'll be holding you, Hoops, and just like rocking you back and forth. My back.
It's
my
okay,
back.
James. That is an image in my head now.
You won't be able to unsee that.
Yeah.
Well, I've loved this podcast because in places it has been quite educational. That conversation didn't quite go where I expected it, but I quite enjoyed that with some of the more profound bits and pieces. So I hope
We
that
can be serious on
we
here.
can be serious. It's good. We've come to the end. What are your final thoughts, Jerry?
For God's sakes. I never learn. Every time.
43 episodes
Every
in,
time.
and he goes, oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about this bit.
You learn about the blind rating, but not the end.
Well, he didn't this time. He still got stitched up on the Star Wars one, didn't he?
Yeah, I did actually, to be fair.
You got Return of the Jedi, I think, correct.
Yeah, I
out of
knew
those
it
five.
as soon as you
Episodes
said it.
9, 8, 6, 3. It's like, yes, I need to put the Return of the Jedi. The problem is I could put a good one last or a really bad one last or something average.
Yeah,
And it's
could
just...
go either way.
But anyway,
Final thoughts.
final thoughts, Jerry.
I honestly, I'm stumped. I don't know. I just think this has been really good fun, and it's nice to also talk about the fact that you're going to be welcoming, baby into this world, and yeah, I've got, I hear that. I hear the stories of like you painting the nursery and all the things that you've been talking about, and it's like, wow, like that takes me back. That takes me back. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing, and I'm really, really pleased for you both.
Thank you.
Hoops.
Yeah, well, I'll send you pictures when the baby's arrived. Just in the WhatsApp group to you both. My takeaways is never do blind react or blind rate with Dom because he fucks you over a treat. Dom still hates the Royal Mail. Shock.
I forgot that we were talking about that first.
Get ready for episode 44. But next time I'm on the podcast, if I'm invited back, that is, I think I've worn Dom's patience very thin on this episode.
I don't know. You've been quite good.
Been quite good, he says.
I am curious, actually, what the AI will put in the transcript for some of the for the Australian swear words.
Oh yeah,
Because it just prints the other ones out, but that one I'm wondering if is actually in the filter. We'll see. Anyway, carry on.
let's see what it does now. But no, I've enjoyed these podcasts because what's this, the second one this year?
Yeah, second this year.
That I've done
Yes,
it was June.
although you'll get released in next year.
Oh yeah,
Your 1st of January.
But it's the second one
But
recorded.
we know- we
It's the
told
second
them-
one
Yeah.
recorded this year.
Yeah.
Okay, second one recorded this year. But no, I thoroughly enjoy these. Like, I think it's a good laugh, and obviously, I think everybody by now who's probably seen the podcast knows that I'm not very serious as a person. Like, even at work, obviously, Dom, you work quite closely with me when we were in the office and stuff. I think even you saw that I kind of gave a bit of a middle finger to the hierarchy that was there. And I did not give a shit. Like, it's just, I'll do whatever. But hopefully the baby will have that kind of personality as well. Because I don't want people to be serious in life, like especially my kids and stuff. But
We can
yeah,
still talk
I-
about serious topics, which I think
Yeah.
is brilliant.
yeah, absolutely. And I think some topics like today talking about conceiving and stuff, I think they need to be talked about a bit more, for sure, especially. But yeah, I've just completely digressed and gone off a tangent, which I think is like a summary of having me on the podcast.
I'm being very distracted by my camera just flickering the saturation on and off of me, so I'm worried that's going. But that's fine.
Well,
It's just,
hopefully it's not going to distract you
expense.
enough because you're going to have to do your final thoughts.
my final thoughts.
That was his final thoughts.
Wow.
What saturation? That's it.
No. My final thoughts. I think just summed it up there brilliantly in terms of again the mixture of humour. We love having you on, Hooper. Although I'm glad that I've got a couple of days until Christmas that I've got time to edit this. It won't take me too long. It'll be fine. It's just 3 things: find all the swear words, blank them out, done. So it's all good. Lots of ups and downs. Interesting. Some stuff that I think it's all confidence based, and I love it. Just I think the jokey conversations and the serious conversations are what we pulled this podcast together. I think for, wasn't
definitely.
it, Jerry? And actually, there were a couple of bits I was like, I didn't expect to talk about that, but I think that's quite good and quite profound that we are talking about that, because we are 3 bearded blokes that and with when you really deep it as well, we're 3 white guys that just want to talk that. But then the fact that we're able to talk about different bits and pieces, I think, is really good. And we will obviously encourage other people to come on and talk to us about those types of things as well if they want to. It's great.
And I do just want to say, Dom, I am super proud of you for your solo travel. I think that's quite a big thing to do, to be able to, you said earlier about going to dinner by yourself. I've done that when I was traveling for work, and I always used to get anxiety because it's what am I going to do? Who am I going to talk to? What are people going to think when I'm just sat there on my phone by myself and all of this? So yeah, I'm super proud of you for doing that by yourself.
Do you know what? It's interesting. I'm glad you said that, because when I reflect on it, I was weirdly because I thought it was going to be like that, but weirdly I didn't have that this time. I thought it was.
Oh.
I had a little bit of I had just had the normal pre-flight jitters that you get, thinking, I've got to go through security and I've got to get on a plane. But actually, I was actually quite relaxed, and that's including a speedboat where I'm very susceptible to getting seasick.
Right.
And I didn't, which was nice. And when I was there, I don't know why. Maybe it was because I was on holiday, and I think it was a combination of being a little bit burnt out this year, which at some point myself and Jerry will dive into a podcast a little bit about what's happened with work for me this year. We don't like to talk too much about it, but I think it's probably one to talk about. I was just so knackered. I just didn't care. I just wanted food, and I knew what was there going to be at the food, and it just, yeah. So it was quite nice. The thing that it gave me that I liked, and bearing in mind I've travelled all over the world, like I've gone to Jamaica, is probably the other furthest place, similar place, all inclusive, but I was with other people. The thing I liked is I was in control. Like, it, as weird as that sounds, like I could choose when I went to breakfast. So one day I completely missed breakfast because I woke up at 11:30. Right? Because I was knackered. Evidently knackered. I did have a few Long Island iced teas the night before, I'm not going to lie, and I enjoyed it. They were very tasty. So, but there were other times where I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning and went and walked around the island to do some sunrise photos, and then went to breakfast, and then I went to the gym or stuff like that. But I could do what I wanted. So it was really nice, and I'm trying to take a little bit of that energy with me at the moment, which is to try and keep a little bit of control on my life, because this year in the background it has spiraled out of control a little bit, and it's being noticed by third parties. So that'll be a hint as to what we get to talk about in outside of work, about work inside this podcast. So yeah, it's good. No, but thank you. Nice. I appreciate that.
Welcome to 2025, bitches. Yeah! Let's go.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. We are into our fifth year.
I think it's a fifth year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will start our 5th year, but this is our 5th year of releasing podcast episodes.
Dom. It's mad.
No, it must be
fifth.
Yeah, no,
fifth
yeah,
year.
It'll be 5th year. Yeah. Blimey O'Reilly. Hoops, thank you for coming on again.
Always
we
good to
really
see
appreciate it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And like I said, I wanted to do a bit more about like you this time, as talking about the baby and the 92 plate stuff. And because you did so much for us. So yeah, Jerry, you are the legend. Thank you very much for joining.
I thought you were struggling to say something like that. Jerry.
Yeah, anyway, moving on.
No. It's fine.
Thank you for coming.
And thank you again to our wonderful listeners. And happy
And thank you, Dom, as always.
Yeah. Love you, bye.